Aloha family, today's episode is brought to you by 5 and 7 Tactical Solutions. They are the premier team for tactical services and training. For those of you that are, you're passionate about protecting yourself, your loved ones, maybe your home, maybe your dog, or maybe your squirrel, well, learn from the professionals. They have gun courses, everything from pistol training to long guns. For those of you that want to learn on concealed carry combative courses, they have that as well if you're a security guard. If you are in Hawaii and Arizona, they have the license courses available for you as well. For those of you that are not comfortable carrying a firearm, they do have self-defense from Women's Defense Tactics, electric gun taser training. They also have active shooter response courses as well for schools, businesses. And if you are a VIP, they do have executive protection services as well. 5 and 7 Tactical Solutions LLC.com. Be sure to mention gLO 808 and they will give you $25 off of any services or package. Today's episode is brought to you by One Shot Energy Voice Drops. They are a low sugar yuzu honey lozenge that soothes and protects your throat and voice with an infusion of slippery elm, marshmallow, and licorice root. Whether you are a full-time gamer, public speaker, pastor, preacher, teacher, maybe you like doing podcasting, you got to get your hands on these voice drops by OneShotEnergy.com. Be sure to use my promo code AMBGLO for 10% off your entire order. OneShotEnergy.com. Aloha. What's up, family? Thank you for joining us. My name is Brother Greg, aka the Real gLO. I didn't want to play all those ads. It'd be kind of cheesy. I have some ads that I got to work on. So anyways, we are live. What are we live on? We're live on X, obviously. X, YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. We're not live on Instagram today because sometimes Instagram is kind of finicky with us, but that's okay. And then we'll be live on Spotify and Apple Podcasts a little bit later. And so I just want to thank you guys for being here. You are watching gLO Sessions podcast. Some people confused with my username. They say gLO. gLO is fine, but gLO Sessions is what this show is called. You're watching episode number 73, and I'm excited. I've got someone that I met on X. Some of you guys still call it Twitter. That's okay. Living in the past, there's nothing wrong with the past. Nostalgia. But I met him on Twitter, on X, and he is someone that I was just sharing with him before we turned on the cameras that I have a soft spot for people that are in public service, military, police, fire department. And one of the things that got my attention, I think he was in Hawaii. I think he said, I forget. We'll talk about it in a second. But he is such an amazing guy in terms of physical fitness, taking care of his body, the stewardship, and not just that, but his ability to influence other men to step up into their calling in life. And being very transparent, he kind of called me out without calling me out. So there was a time when I was extremely tight with my physical fitness, and I kind of took a step to the side. It's still there. I just gotta push the muscles back out, but it's still there. But anyways, this gentleman's been 21 years of service in the United States Army, 3 deployments overseas, 1 in Iraq and 2 in Afghanistan. And we're excited because he's going to bring a wealth of experience and discipline to just the things he's going to share with us today. At least I think he is. I don't know. We'll see. We may just talk about Hawaii or food. I don't know. We'll talk about a whole bunch of stuff. He's a husband. He's a father. He is what I call a jiu-jitsu evangelist. And I think in this season of his life, I want to talk about this, where he's been protecting the American dream for the past 21 years. And I would love to hear a little bit on his living the American dream versus protecting it. And so I'm excited to have him here with us on gLO Sessions number 73. Ladies and gentlemen, in about 44 seconds, you're going to get a chance to meet Dominic Schroeder. Dominic Schroeder. Thank you for being here, bro. I appreciate you.
What's up, Greg? Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm excited, man.
Hey, just as a disclaimer, I've done over 3,000 lives, whether it's fancy computers, cell phones. I get nervous every single time. So just
So
throwing
this
it out.
this is my second live, and I'm a little awestruck right now. I'm awestruck, bro. I'm awestruck.
It's a good nervous, right? We should have some, and I'm not, obviously, I'm not military, but if you go into any situation in life where you don't have any type of nervous apprehension, I think you're too comfortable. So it's good to have some nervousness in there.
So backstage, I was doing my deliberate breathing, so that way
Oh yeah,
there
yeah.
you go.
I have my breathing exercises somewhere. I don't know where I put it. Yeah, the breathing exercises are big, especially when you do what you do in your craft, right? And what's his name? Hickson Gracie. You know who he is,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
The breathing exercises. Oh my gosh, can you do those that he does, where he just?
Not when he's making, his belly move like in centrifugal forces where it's going crazy like that. No, I can't do that.
I think the fact that he can move his organs where it's not supposed to be. That's I don't know. I don't know what that what it, I mean. There's a small percentage of people that can do that, but what's the benefit, right? Like outside of
Yeah.
the breathing.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a big Wim Hof fan. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, the Iceman. So I got into a little bit of deliberate breathing just watching his videos back in the day.
So does it help you in an area of getting choked out? Does it help?
So it does. Yeah, it
Yeah,
does,
yeah.
right? It does. And when like yesterday, I was rolling with some guys and they're going all crazy, a couple white belts. I was like, "Hey man, breathe." And they stopped and looked at me like, "What are you talking about? Breathe. Like you're breathing, you're hyperventilating right now. Like slow down, slow down." But yeah, it was a good time.
So the guys you train with, are they all around the same age as you?
For the majority, they're in their 20s. There's a
Oh
couple
wow.
guys, yeah, a couple guys in their 30s. Not too many in their 40s, and we have two guys in their 50s. But for the most part, it's young men. It's young, strong men getting after it. A lot of law enforcement guys. So it's actually a really good vibe at the gym that I go to. Shout out to SBG West Virginia.
SBG, West Virginia. Is that where you're living right now in West Virginia?
Yeah, I'm in West Virginia right now. It's a different place out here. It's a different place.
Now you were in Hawaii, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was in Hawaii in October, in Oahu
Okay.
for like 4 days, and then the Big Island.
Oh, okay. That's my hometown. Big Island's my home. Yeah. So, were you ever stationed in Hawaii?
No, my brother, this is lucky dude, he's been stationed there twice, and he's out there on Oahu with the army. But yeah, I got to see him out there this October, and that was cool. We actually, my wife and I, we took a course out there for put on by the SBA, Small Business
Yeah.
Administration, for
Okay.
Boots to Business, and it was a really great opportunity. Really great opportunity.
That's the SBA. They're doing good things. When we first started in business, man, like 15, 20 years ago, we just we thought they were just like a company that verifies that you're legit, right? But there's a lot
Yeah.
more to what they offer. I didn't know that. So,
So did you start out there is it Kona or
so I'm from a Hilo side, but then
Hilo? Okay.
I've been on Oahu for 27 years. My mom was Hawaiian Chinese, my dad's Filipino, but I lived in the East Coast for 8 years. So that's why I have a weird language. Like the way I speak is kind of proper, quote unquote, distinguished. But if you know Hawaiian, the way we talk, once in a while it seeps out like my pigeon, like "Oh, brother, watch out, bro." So that kind of comes out once in a while. So, but yeah, Oahu is where most of my life actually was Oahu.
Okay.
Yeah,
I had a good friend from Eva Beach. Eva, is it Eva Beach? Eva
yeah,
Beach?
yeah. That's where my
Yeah.
wife's from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, my buddy Dawson, Eugene Dawson, Eugene Diamond Dawson from Eva Beach taught me how to box in Afghanistan. That's how I'll never forget.
We gotta talk about that. So I did look it up. So can you, for people that don't know, can you tell them what GWOT stands for those that don't know?
Yeah, yeah. So good question. It's Global War on Terrorism. I believe it started 2001, might have been 2002, but ended around I think 14 maybe. So the Global War on Terrorism spanned Iraq, Afghanistan, and then some of the detainees in Cuba, and then obviously Syria and some other hot areas of the world. I think even parts of the Philippines might have been included in there. Mindanao, I could be wrong. Don't quote me. But yeah, so we were at war for a long time with terrorism.
And there's so many layers to that, right? Because I think when we hear terrorism, unfortunately, I think we all focus on one spot. It seems like
Yeah,
Middle East,
Middle East. Yep.
but actually, I have my good friend Pat. He's always posting on Instagram what China's doing right now, and nobody's even paying attention. They're moving right inch by inch, closer and
Yep.
closer. People don't
Well,
pay
it's
attention.
man-made island after man-made island.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm talking about, inch by inch. They're literally moving inch by inch. Yeah. So is it how do you say? You just say GWOT or do you
GWAT.
say
Say
GWAT?
GWAT.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, GWAT.
Military and the acronyms I tell you.
I
GWAT. So is it still an active part of the military?
No, I think they transitioned to different names like oh man, Operation New Dawn. There's a couple other different names for Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria. I don't remember them all.
I love a good conspiracy theory, and I always think when programs are started and then move to a new one, first thing I think of is funding or money, right? Congressional things, right? Maybe this politician, he's not in office anymore, so now they got to get a new guy, come up with a new team, or
That's what we say about the uniforms. Every time we change a uniform, there's a new contract with a new head guy making some money. But that's a joke for everyone.
are they still using a Minecraft style? I call it Minecraft, but the blocks,
Oh, the digipattern, yeah. So we have our OCPs. Um, yeah, yeah. I remember the gray pattern that worked for nothing. Well, for the army, anyways.
yeah,
It worked for really nothing except for a rock quarry.
rock quarry.
Yeah.
So, are you still officially active duty, or did you retire?
Yeah, I'm still active duty. I'm transitioning this year, so this is my last hurrah. I'm on the like going through the process. I'll be on terminal leave here shortly at the end of or transition leave here at the end of March. So I'm really excited for that and move down to Kentucky and be with my wife. So she's moving from California to Kentucky, and I'm moving from West Virginia to Kentucky. So it's going to be exciting.
Wait, so whose hometown is Kentucky?
Neither one of us.
What?
Yeah, she likes it out there. My kids are out there in Kentucky. We both love California. Like if we could have it our way, we'd go out to Hawaii. But my daughter is still in high school, so we're gonna
Okay.
spend time with her. Um, yeah, because being in the army missed
Oh yeah.
a lot of time. So I'm gonna try to be present as much as possible for the next few years. Because you know how teenagers are. Once they reach a certain age, hey, they're doing their own thing. So yeah,
They're doing their own thing. They're their own person. They think they're super smart, but they're still moldable, right? So, yeah. First, I meant to say congratulations on the years you've been in
oh, thank you,
your
appreciate it.
marriage and being a
Thank
dad.
you.
I don't think we give enough credit for men being real men, right? Like doing the stuff that's generational. So,
I appreciate
congratulations
that.
on that, man. I appreciate you for doing that. Um, I was Okay, so California to Kentucky, right? So are you guys gonna have cows, cattle, farm? What's
So no, no. So man, yeah, it's we thought about chickens. We really did. Just because of all the food, all the junk that's in the food
yeah.
industry. We wanted to start a little micro farm.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, her husband, they do that. They do a great job, and just kind of, victory gardens, right? So back in the day, 1940s, they had the victory gardens where everyone grew a little bit of something to maintain themselves and
Right.
whatnot. So, um, you know, if we go back to God, God's a creator. If we can create something to help ourselves and help other people, why not?
Yep.
So we had thought about doing that, and then we're like, oh, but if we do that, then we're committing to Kentucky. So we're not sure if we want to commit to Kentucky because we have some dreams of either Cebu
Ooh.
or Thailand or something else. So we're really in a weird transitionary period right now where we haven't committed to one thing just yet.
I think Cebu would be a middle ground between Thailand and, because at least Cebu you have a military presence. If
Yeah,
you ever, and I'm not saying things will, but if things go south, at least you'd be close to a base. Cebu.
exactly. Yeah, in Thailand they had a lot of people in the past couple years. Um, but yeah, we want to explore some things and see where that goes. But you're right, Cebu has I think a naval station nearby, so it might be Air Force. I can't remember. But yeah,
Because I think our current president, I talk politics. I don't care, and I love anybody. I don't care if you voted for whoever, but I will say this president, uh, if he signs something, it's gonna move, right? So, man, if you're overseas and something happens, at least, yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen in the next 4 years. And I know as a father, I see this is my perception, like what he's doing. I almost feel like it's not a. Some people would argue with me, right? They say it's about him, but I feel like it's not about him. He wants to leave something, and just seeing the things with his grandkids and his kids don't party, don't drink. It's like that's extremely rare, And anyway, so going back to Cebu, yeah, I mean, I think even in the Philippines, you can still just one plane ride over, and you'll be where in Thailand.
exactly.
Yeah,
Speaking of what you had mentioned earlier, is you're seeing a rise of strong leaders again, like strong, and not just men, but look at Tulsi, look at the other secretaries.
yeah.
It's they're you're seeing a rise of strong leaders in different capacities, and it's an amazing thing, in my opinion.
It's funny you bring that up because what was it? I posted a video. I think you saw it, of Bobby Kennedy Jr., where he says, "I don't want this. I don't need this. Like I have a happy life. I have." He didn't say money, but he's got money, right? He has money. He doesn't need them. Nobody does the government for money. Well, they shouldn't. But and I was like, you know what? I looked at the team that they've got. A lot of them don't need money. So it leads me to believe that these are people that really want to have some kind of effect or change. And it's gonna Tulsi's yeah. I didn't like it at first just because of party affiliation. It's not that I was a party guy, but and then as things moved forward and I saw that she was kind of creating a bridge, I like that. Creating a bridge, and then she left the other side. So, but who else is on that? Of course, Vivek and JD is interesting. I didn't know him until this election. I didn't never heard of him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's great. So Marine, it's awesome, right? A Marine grunt's running the vice president. The yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing time to be alive right now. And like you said, things are happening so fast. Organizations literally can't keep up. So it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
I think it's good. Um, I know people's feelings, whatever. I don't know if that's a real issue about people's feelings, but I forget who said it. I heard it a lot where it says facts don't care about your feelings. I want to say that's Ben Shapiro. I think it was him. But I am excited to what's going to happen, and not just administration. I'm talking about just our country. I am excited to see what's going to happen because I think any home needs a strong leadership, right? Whether you're a single parent or you've got a mom and a dad, you need to have some kind of strong leadership. Where says, no, this is where it's at. And even if we're wrong as parents, right? At least we did it out of love, and we know that we're doing our best. You know. But I think I don't want to dwell on Trump too much, but I feel like Trump for me was he was that man that your mom met after she got divorced, right? He's the rich stepdad that comes in and says, "Okay, this is the law. I don't care. We're going. This is what it is." And you're like, "I don't want to." I feel like sometimes he represents that,
That's a good analogy. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
and you don't know if you love him or not because you don't know if you trust him. But yet, yeah. Can we go back to? Uh, I want to go to Kentucky. So I would say do chickens because we have chickens, and well, so my daughter actually takes care of the chickens, and she does the eggs. So we have fresh farm eggs. Like we don't buy eggs anymore. So, and if you gotta get rid of the chickens, just set them free. Let them go wild.
Like in like Hawaii, right? Like in
Yeah,
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 like the Big Island.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, yeah, we were thinking about it. If anything, probably want to do the colorful ones, the rainbow chicken. What are they?
yeah.
They're
Well,
called?
so we have the Rhode Island Reds. They're the red ones. They have black chickens. The Easter eggers. Their eggs are blue.
Okay.
And then my daughter knows it all. But we have so if you look in our refrigerator, we have all different colors. We have the brown shell, the white, and the yolks are. The cool thing, Dom, is that you can feed them whatever you want, and it literally influences the type of yolk you're gonna get, and it's super healthy. Like the only thing I'm trying to figure out is the shell because the shells are different. Like the shells are really thick. So if you have like your own chickens, the shells are a lot thicker than what you buy at the store. So
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what. Maybe because the ones at the store are GMO process, super bionic,
Yeah.
mDRNA or whatever.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, they got some craziness going on. One of my coworkers, she has chickens that she brings extra eggs over occasionally, so it's pretty awesome. And yeah, you can totally tell the difference. So I like to buy my eggs in bulk just so I can have a whole bunch, but I definitely know the difference when it's farm fresh versus store bought from, you know,
So,
Walmart.
so what are you eating nowadays? What is your diet like?
Primarily protein. So I eat
Yeah.
a lot of ground beef, a lot of steak, eggs. I love fruit, like dried fruit. I know there's sugar in there, but you know, it's all good there. I don't eat a lot of vegetables, but I am a fanatic for tortilla chips. Like you cannot keep. I will get to some tortilla chips.
Do you have
Love.
some Mexican in you somewhere?
No, no, I'm half Filipino, bro. I'm mestizo like you.
No, here's the funny thing. Okay? First time, so I'm born and raised Hawaiian, Chinese, Filipino. Like I'm legit Hawaiian. I come to Oregon, and I'm like, why do? And we say haole, and for people that are white, I'm not disrespecting. That's just
Yeah,
what we call white
yeah.
people. But I asked my wife, well, why is it the haole people they love Mexican food? Like I don't understand it. There's Mexican food all over the place. I'm like, don't you like German food or Russian food or Italian? But and I started to fall in love with Mexican food. I'm like, what? I said, what's happening? I said, what's happening?
Yeah, yeah. That's what I had last night or yesterday for lunch. Freaking $13. Steak, ribeye steak, beans, rice, tortilla chips. Can't beat that. Can't beat that.
So you've done carnivore as well?
I have um I didn't I don't stick I'm not clean carnivore
Yeah, it's,
now.
it's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of protein to continually eat. But if you're looking to lose weight or get shredded, it's a quick way to get it done.
Right.
You're just it is obviously a very restrictive diet, and so by not having the carbs and all those sugars, your body's gonna
Yeah.
process the protein and the fat accordingly. So
I know when I eat a lot of eggs, it kind of makes me feel like I have some kind of carbs, especially if it's like a big pile of it. But I lost 12 pounds in 2 weeks when my first run of doing a carnivore, and that time all I ate was actual steak. That was kind of expensive, so that's the other
Yeah.
downside. I just ate steak, eggs, and salt and water. That's it.
Yep.
And I had some pretty violent bathroom sessions though for the
Yeah.
first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It'll get you.
But that's because my body was like, "What the heck? I want my crap. Where's my crappy food? Where is it at?" And it's like, "I'm going to teach you a lesson." My butt's like, "I'm going to teach you a lesson." But yeah, I if my wife and I are talking about it because we need to clean up our diet even more. But it's so hard, man. Like Hawaiian food, you gotta have the rice. It's like,
Oh, sticky rice,
yeah,
the
yeah.
musubi. Oh man.
You just got 1,000 points right there. Thank you for saying that because people say musubi. You said it right. Thank you. Appreciate you for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hawaiian food is, man. There's so much good stuff out there. The short ribs, pineapple with that almost not everything, but a lot of things. Pokey, man. Yeah, you can't find none of that out here in West Virginia. That's the problem. That's why I need to have my big cities.
Why West Virginia? Is the Army? They have
The
a,
Army.
they have a, okay.
Yeah, so there's a small reserve base that I work at. So I'm full time at a reserve base, and yeah, there's nothing much out here. They got a this is a very strong military friendly state. Um, but there's not a lot out here. There's a lot to do out here. Let me rephrase that. There's a lot to do out here
Right.
in the outdoor scene. Um, well, the things that I like to do, like jiu-jitsu, skydiving, that's not out here. They have skydiving, but it's a small drop zone. Jiu-jitsu, there's only a handful of places. I'm really fortunate to the place that I found. A lot of law enforcement guys, military guys there, and they train, good vibe. Um, but like outside of that, there's not much. Actually, that's exactly why I got onto X, is because the community of like-minded people is not a thing in West Virginia.
Right.
So if I like Mountain Dew and cigarettes, I'd fit in really well, but that's not my type.
Yeah.
It's not my thing. So um, yeah, there's a really bad health epidemic here in West Virginia. It's trying to help people. Like there's a lot of opportunity to move forward, but people want to have to move forward, and that's like really the biggest challenge because they grew up only knowing um, nothing regarding nutrition or health. Like it's tough. It's tough to see, especially when you see kids, young, obese. Yeah, it's rough.
It's tough. Even like here, we're learning. I can understand why people get stuck in this cycle because a lot of the grocery stores here, there's a lot of discount grocery stores, right? And 90% of what they have that's available is processed stuff. So I totally understand why people are in that vicious cycle. You
So
know?
like uh, a cheap trick, stick to the outside, the
Yeah,
the produce, the meat, maybe
yeah.
a little dairy. Check out. Don't hit the middle. Stay out of the middle. The middle will get you. It's the devil.
When you've got 37 ingredients for a cracker,
Yeah.
something wrong. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I can pick on the Chinese people. I always have a conspiracy. The Chinese people are trying to destroy us in so many angles. One of the, and this is total side departure, but my wife was playing this game today. I was like, honey, the Chinese are laughing at us right now because they have all these games in the App Store. 90 million Americans are playing these games, being unproductive, playing these video games, and it's all from China. So, anyways, so yeah, stick to the outside. What's my diet? It's I try to stick to the meds, right? The meat, eggs, dairy. What's the S? Seafood, right? So I try to stick to that as
Yeah.
much as possible. But so do you have clients right now that you're walking through?
Not right
Some
now. No,
okay,
not right now. Right now I'm with the Better Bros, and we have
yeah.
a men's accountability group. Um, a small community on X, and then a smaller in-person, not in-person, excuse me, online accountability group through Slack. And that's been,
Ooh,
yeah,
Slack.
yeah, we use Slack to
That's old
communicate.
school.
We
Yeah.
tried Telegram, but Telegram wasn't working too well, so we transitioned over to Slack.
Does Slack have video conferencing capabilities?
I don't know. We use Zoom for that part, so we
Okay.
do our video calls through Zoom, and that's been working pretty well. So
If you like Slack, cause I came out of Slack, so my business partner, our first company, we use Slack for all of our teammates, and Slack is great because all hashtag things, right? Pin post,
yeah, channels.
scheduling,
Yeah.
channels, private channels for leadership if you need that.
Yep.
But then we found Discord, which is the same thing. People misinterpret Discord as for gamers. It is, but Discord's the same thing, the same capabilities, and you have video conferencing with unlimited minutes. So that's like okay. So we shifted to Discord, and
Okay.
yeah, I will tell you check that out and see. It's different in appearance, but it's the same thing. They're all kind of it's just a different aesthetic to it. So some people may struggle with that, of course, right? So
Yeah. So we did look at it briefly, but we didn't really incorporate any of the clients into it. So
okay,
we might have to relook at that at some other point. But yeah, it's pretty good in the Slack. But yeah, it's a little, I guess, I don't want to say formal, but yeah, a lot of people use it for business. So
mm-hmm.
some people are like, oh, I don't want to use Slack to communicate again because I use it for business and then having to get on there. But it's going pretty well. Seeing guys making progress, communicating, talking about their challenges. So that's always cool because not one person has all the answers,
Yeah.
but a group of men, man, what can you accomplish?
So for our listeners that don't know, can you explain? Can you tell them the Better Bros, like who started, who's a part of it, what is it all about?
Yeah, so it actually came from Don Hickman. He started this branding, this better branding, and I don't remember how we connected. It was with Barrett Nobel and myself. I don't know, I can't remember exactly how we connected. It might have been a space, but the three of us got together at some point, like on different times, and then uh, Barrett, the master integrator, was like, hey, like, why don't we all work together to help dudes out? And so focus on 5 principles: fitness, finances, faith, family, and friends, and just want to make men better in those five pillars. And for me, like, I love fitness. Um, I'm growing in my faith, so this is awesome, right? And then obviously family and friends are super important, and then so are finances. Like, I'm almost done with my degree in finance, and so like having focusing on the 5 core things is super important. And yeah, it's been a wild time because this we launched in November, and we have about um, 20 members plus a group in South Africa led
Ooh.
by Redmond. And so Redmond's leading up a chapter in South Africa. And yeah, it's been awesome because seeing people learning from each other as an accountability group is just like it's super awesome because a lot of things that I've learned in this process because of being around other strong men, right? So iron sharpens iron, like, all the way.
For your so on our Rumble, we're live on Rumble. I have a slide of you in it, and I have "Iron sharpens iron" as one of the slogans.
Sweet, awesome.
So is predominantly a lot of the guys military in the Better Bros?
No, so we have 3 veterans right now,
Okay.
but we have guys all over the world actually. So South Africa, Europe, and then all over America. So from coast to coast. So it's been a challenge trying to get people on the same Zoom call just because
Mhm.
of the timing.
Time zones.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
one thing about being in Hawaii is that I learned how to manage time zones because Hawaii is its own time zone. So had to learn. And I at one point I memorized everybody's time zone. I knew where UK was. I knew where Japan was. Japan was always in the future, but like 8 hours back. So it was easy for me to figure that out. But yeah.
Is that because you worked with all the people from different areas?
So in what year was it? 2017, 2016. Met my business partner Joey on Twitter, and he came to Hawaii, and just by that relationship and then doing a lot of live streaming, whenever I would go live, if I went live at the wrong time, nobody would see it because they're sleeping. So I had to figure that out. And then during our meetings, so at the time, I think we did Zoom meetings at the time, just trying to get everybody. It's hard, right? I understand that getting everybody together to have something important to talk about is hard. You know,
Yeah.
it really is. So now I heard you say degree in finance. So first of all, congratulations. That's
Well, I'm gonna
awesome.
finish. I'm on my senior year. I'm almost done.
Oh, you're finished. You're done. Yeah,
Little
it's
like two under 2 semesters. So
yeah. So you do that remote or in person?
remote. Yeah, it was
Okay.
through Liberty University.
Nice.
Being in the military, there is not a way. I mean, there is a way for
Yeah.
if you have a. I want to say it is. If you have a BS job, where you can do something like that in person, there's not many people that have that like very few people that have the opportunity. So, um, if you've had the opportunity to be in the military and sit down and go to school in person, then I would question exactly what your military career existed about.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, but for the most part, most guys in the military that work on their degrees do it online. It's the only way to get it done because constant moves
Yeah.
and missions. So
My so 2019. Oh, so my daughter, we took my daughter to college. So in 2019, we took her to Boston, set her up, and then I think a year later, my wife is like, I think I want to finish school. So my wife just got her degree in business, and then in a master's program, so she's gonna finish that. She almost graduated before my daughter did. I told my daughter, "You better not let your mom beat you."
oh man, that'd have been funny. Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's awesome.
it was a struggle because I traveled so much the first 2 years we've been here in Oregon. Flying back and forth to Hawaii and just traveling to Portland and doing. My wife would do her school, so we homeschool our kids, right? So from 11 to 6, so 11 at night to 6 a.m. My wife would be in school doing just. She did that for 3 years. Graduated. I'm so proud of her, man. Like to do that, be a mom, a wife.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a
That's
challenge,
tough. It is. It's tough.
especially yeah. If you take a long break, like now you gotta remember how do you do school again? Like
Yeah. You know what got her? It was those Facebook ads. Yeah.
oh, they're good. So
Yeah.
they are really. That's exactly how Liberty got me.
Yeah.
No joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's like I want to study to be a pilot, and Siri must have heard me, and a few seconds later, like aviation program. Like oh, let me look at this. Right. Go down this rabbit hole, and yeah,
Now Liberty, I think, is the founder is Jerry Falwell, if I'm not mistaken. Was it Jerry Falwell? I forget.
I don't
My
know.
my previous guest, Dr. Terry Lynn Kim, one of her degrees is from Liberty
Awesome.
University. Yeah. She's got I think she's got 3 or 4 master's degrees. One of them's from Liberty, and then she's working on her second PhD. I don't know how people do that, but I told my wife just get your PhD already. What's another year and a half? Just do it. So easy
Did
for
you?
me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she's gonna get it, but I think right now, just because we launched our we have another business we just launched, nothing major, but it does take a lot of time for her just to manage all those things, especially now tax season. So she's got a lot
Yeah.
to do.
Is she doing in business? Should she do her master's in business as well, or
Yeah. Well,
okay?
she didn't finish. She's in the master's program right now, so I think she's taking a break. She's because she didn't. She graduated and went straight into it. That was hard. That was hard for her. I think it's probably more of a mental thing, or it
Yeah.
probably is physical too. I'm sure it's physical. Yeah, because it is hard. Not getting sleep. That's tough. That was very tough. So, what are you gonna do with your finance degree?
So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Probably nothing. But what I've learned like taking these business classes and finance classes. If you run your life like your personal finance like a business, you'll be good.
Mm.
If if you don't, right? If you take on a whole bunch of debt, if you're hemorrhaging money, like if you run your life like that, then not a good way of living life. So, and if you track everything, that was like one of the major things I took away from taking all the business classes is like the understanding your inputs, your data. Like I became a nerd with Excel at work, and it helped me significantly at work manage data and people. It's crazy to say you can manage people through data, but that's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I was like, oh, who cares about all these metrics? And now that at an organizational level, it's like, oh, metrics matter. Metrics drive, um, let you see where the holes are at. So that's been really cool to learn and understand. Um, but yeah, I probably won't use it um, so much as in a corporate job. Just I don't think that's going to be for me.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun to learn, fun to know.
I think. Well, I told my wife she's the CEO of our company. I'm just the guy that talks. So I'm the front end. She makes sure nothing falls apart. And like even her degree, I told her, I hope you don't get a degree so you can go. And there's nothing wrong because we need employees. But I told her, I hope it's not just so you can lock into a corporate job because that's not. I know we were created to be far more than that. I'm not saying people that have that because there are some really great executives, but for her and for I, like we need that freedom to control, right, exclusively our finance and even our time.
Yeah,
My dad was he was a vice president of First Hawaiian Bank in Hawaii, and I remember as a kid that part of his life, um, his that corporate lifestyle. I don't know. That's not for me. That's not for us. So, but yeah, if I think you said something about managing people. The numbers always tell a story, right?
yes, for sure.
They always tell a story.
For sure. I mean, look at what X does with it. It lets people understand the numbers for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And like random people who have no background in business or finance or data analytics, now they're looking at numbers, and to them it's painting them a picture. And they don't realize that that's what business is all about, right?
Yeah.
Pareto's law, like how many people can you talk to? And out of the people that you talk to, how many can you dig a not dig, but develop a better relationship with them, a more service or product oriented relationship with them.
That's where the principle came from, right? The 20/80, 80/20,
Yeah,
80/20 rule.
exactly.
Yeah. Are you a Kiyosaki fan? Robert
I
Kiyosaki?
am. I am. Well, so yeah, a little short story on Robert. I read his book in 2007 on top of a mountain in Afghanistan. So there is this Navy Master of Arms guy. I can't remember the guy's name. He was like a E5. I think that's a petty officer in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
We're on duty, just watching a valley, right? We're in our PT shorts, flip flops, and T-shirt, and weapon nearby, and we're just like watching the valley. We're up there for a week, and he brought his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he's like, hey, "You got to read this book." I was like, "Oh, whatever, I'm not gonna read it." But we're there for a week, and so we had nothing to do. And he started talking about, oh, like right now my duplex is being paid off while I'm deployed. He was like, I have a duplex, I rent out half the side, and now I'm renting out both sides because I'm deployed, and the rental income is generating me money. And I was just like, when he said that, light turned on, like, oh, let's talk more. And he's like, yeah, read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. So of course, read the book. Mine was blown. And yeah, big fan of Robert Kiyosaki. Like, implemented some of his principles. I don't own a business or anything yet, but I've had multiple rental properties. My wife and I, we have a lot together. She read the book. She owns a duplex in San Antonio, so it's changed our life for the better. So
I will say that you are a business owner. I mean, if you have rental properties, you have money coming in that's
Yeah.
working for you. So yeah, I mean, you're legit. Um, I forget where I said it on X. I said if you're gonna say you're a business, then go be a business. I tell people I've said it before, and what I meant by that was don't say you're a business and don't do the legwork or the don't do without the blueprints. And so what I was saying was just go pay the $75. Go to your local business office, whatever your state, city, local, whatever. Pay the $75. Register as an LLC or whatever you feel led to. Pay your GET, your tax license. Get your name registered. If you want to take it up another level, go trademark yourself, right? At least in your state. And when you get the money, go get your branding all set up all across the nation. Protect yourself, but set it up. I think your DMO changes when you have that already set up versus And I think with you and your wife, what you guys got, you're already light years ahead of half of the American population. Having that income coming in. So
Yeah, she hit a home run on her first go. She built a duplex from the ground up.
wow,
Yeah, yeah, and she bought a lot in San Antonio, built it from the ground up with a contractor, and she learned a lot. I learned a lot, um, and that was her first investment property was building a duplex. I was like, babe, like that's hardcore. And then cash flow positive. Like, who the heck does that on the first go? So um, it was pretty epic.
that's pretty cool. From dirt to
to
finished.
to finish and cash flow positive. Like, I was like, you hit a home run on your first go. Like that's newbie gains, but I'm super proud of you. I give her a lot of mess all the time.
You
But
leveled
yeah,
up, bro.
oh man,
You,
she yo. So this is the deal: is you get with somebody who's cooler than you, and somehow you swindle them into loving you, and that's what I did. She's cooler than me, and somehow she fell in love with me, and I got lucky.
yeah, you leveled up for sure. So, does she have any contractor experience?
No, no, none at all.
Wow.
Her father, in the former electrician, and
Okay.
so he was a very big help there. Um, but yeah, she's a project manager for the military. She didn't finish her licensure, but she's not a project manager. What do you call it? Program manager. So she's used to managing people and projects. So she was good at that. She's really good at that. Very organized. So when we go, by the way, yeah, when we went to Hawaii, there was a strict schedule. And when I saw that, I was like, babe, are we doing vacation? What are we doing here? She's like, oh, it's a workation. I was like, all right, well, you got to take a couple things out of there because I kind of want to sit on the beach and be a bum. She's like, okay. But yeah, she's hardcore, very, very detail oriented. So,
I'm sure the contractors knew her name.
oh yeah,
You know what I mean? Oh, okay. Corey's here. So,
yep,
Corey, right? Is her name?
yeah, Corey, exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to wrestle with her, man. I've seen some of her videos. That probably she will throw me around on a mat. I'm like, no, no, thank you, no, thank you. I'm good. My wife can take care of herself too. My wife has been known to throw some guys around the room, so uh,
Nice.
I leveled up too. So I tell you what. So Robert Kiyosaki. I read the book too. I actually have quite a bit. I'm not a Kiyosaki fanboy or anything, but the principles are legit.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
my dad actually went to school with him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in Hilo. But at the time, nobody knew who anybody was, so nobody cared, right? But then my dad was like, "Wait a minute," so I know that guy. But the one that really hit me, the one that red pilled me, it wasn't Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad was kind of like an eye opener, but I didn't take the red pill yet. It was when I read the Cash Flow Quadrant. That one, I'm not sure if you read that book, but
Yeah.
have you read it?
Employee, business owner,
That red
investor.
man, I I tell people this all the time. Like when I got to one, I forget what section it was. I literally started weeping. I'm like, this is who I am because of what was done before me. And that's when things started to change for us. Like, my parents, my parents are amazing. They did the best they could. But then later on in life is when they really started to go over to the B and I side. You know, my wife and I were fortunate to work. Uh, I won't say the name, but we were in an office of investors and business owners, and we were doing mortgages and rental properties. And I was just thinking about this today. In this office, there were like, I remember going into work with my wife. My wife did the loans, and there's like 5 or 6 ladies all working hard. And in this office, people are making like, I don't even know the dollar amount, but I'm trying to find a fake number. But put it this way, my friend at the time and we partnered on one property together. In 1 year, he bought and sold 10 homes.
Oh, wow.
And I figured out kind of how later on we ended up leaving that office because there was a loan document that I was asked to go, to take care of. And then the head of the office, who was my auntie, she says, "Oh, don't need to have here. I'll just take care of it. Just, copy and paste." So anybody that's in office work, you copy and paste a signature. You basically cut out an old signature. You paste it on the new document. You put white out. You cover all the shades, and then you copy that document. So the new quote unquote signed copy looks like it's legitimately signed. Now, to her defense, the loan package was actually a better price, but legally, that form was not signed by the person who. So that happens a lot in sales. It happens a lot in finance. I didn't know that, where people just, because they don't want to risk losing the account. They don't want to risk losing the sale. So you don't hear, and then they tell the customer, like, "Hey, by the way, we got you a better rate. We'll send you the rates," not knowing that the copy and paste happened. So, anyways, we left that office. I said, "This doesn't feel right," so we left, and I'm glad we did, Dom, because that was the largest bust by the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the state of Hawaii.
Ooh.
For straw buyers, inflation of a whole bunch of stuff, and we love them. They're family and friends, but 21 of them went to jail.
Yeah, it ain't worth it.
Yeah,
It ain't worth
and
it.
it was heartbreaking because my very good friend, he and his wife went to jail as well, but because they had kids, so the judge made a deal where the wife can go first, do her time, and then the husband can do when she comes out. And I'll never forget that. That was so heartbreaking for us to witness that, and their kids, and so I don't know how we got about that, but we talking about money and finance. But yeah,
But yeah, cash flow quadrant.
cash flow quadrant. Yeah, to be on a B and I side, the investor, and yeah. So you still got your properties still?
Yeah. We have 2 in Kentucky, and she has 1 in San Antonio.
Nice.
Yeah, I had a property in Washington, but I sold that in my divorce. I wish I could have bought her out, but it's all right. I think everything
Mhm.
happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so real estate has definitely helped our lives level up, and I'll never forget. My recruiter told me 2003. He's like, "Hey, wherever you PCS to, buy a house." He's like, "That way, when you retire, you're gonna have all these properties across America, making you money." And I didn't do that. I did it. My first property I got when I 2008 in Washington. Um, but yeah, I didn't buy a property in New York, but I bought a property in Kentucky, California. Couldn't afford it. But yeah, so a couple properties, and then we got she built her property when we were in California, and we bought a property together in Kentucky. But real estate is definitely a way to do all right, in my opinion. Like, it's helped us. even when things were bad, right? So I bought a property at the end of 2008 when I don't know if you remember that time of the year, but that was a horrible time to buy property.
I know that because that's when that story I just told you. That's when it
Yeah.
all happened.
Yep.
So my parents had four. My mom and dad had four properties at that time, and then they foreclosed on two of them because they couldn't find. They basically couldn't pay because the
Yeah.
rates they had were adjustable.
I just went so
Yeah. So and even our house. So we bought a house in '05. It was 2,800 a month when we first got it, and then by the end it was about almost $4,000 a month because of the
yeah.
arm.
The arm, yeah.
So yeah,
Adjustable rate mortgage gets you. Yeah, it's crazy. And a lot of people don't know, go fixed rate, or maybe they get enticed with the low interest rate and all, I'll just refi later on and never get to refinancing. Yeah, it's
we
that's where
learned a lot, in that because a lot of people don't realize if you know how to use it, then use it like how it's supposed to be used for you as the business owner or investor. Don't use it as a customer because those arms. That's why Obama signed that bank bailout deal was because people were not paying their mortgages,
yeah,
and the banks knew. The banks knew. They knew what they were doing. So without sounding conspiracy theory, but it was a that when you bought it in '08. That's pretty amazing that you came out of that. So,
yeah, it came out on top. So yeah, I sold the property in 2017, bought in '08, and yeah, walked away with all right. I wish I like the reason I said I wish I'd have kept it is because the mortgage from '08 to what the rent income is right now. I keep doing my research and I look at it I'm like, oh man, that's easy money right there. But it's all good. It's all good.
would you say that's emotional attachment when you look at it that way?
I wouldn't say emotion. So it was emotional for her because I wanted to buy her out, but she wouldn't let me. She's like,
Mm.
"No, you're trying to scam me." I was like, "I'm not trying to scam you at all. I'll give you fair market value right now. Your cut of the fair market value." She's like, "No, I think you're up to something." I was like, "I'm not. I know the value of this property and what it'll be later on. Time value of money, it'll increase, especially as inflation increases. Home values, depending on where you live, really don't go down
Yeah,
ever. They don't go back unless you have some catastrophic event like 2008. Um, but yeah, rents. I mean, even here in West Virginia, rents are expensive for what people make. It's crazy. California, you got whole families living in apartments because they can't afford to live anywhere else really. Um, so rents will, what it shows is going to continue to go up.
I
It's
got a
crazy.
funny you say that because I got a theory about that. I'm like, why is rent going up everywhere? I mean, like, so in Hawaii, I understand because we got a million people on a tiny little rock, and there's other islands with cheaper homes potentially, but for some reason they're all on Oahu. I think it's 1.1 million now. Rent is so our house before we came to Oregon was like 3550, and I share this publicly, but our house 3550. Most people in Hawaii can't afford it. You can't afford to pay that unless you've got multiple income earners
Yeah.
or something. And but that's the average, right? So that's the average of what you would pay just to get a home in Honolulu, and that's not even a new house. That's like a house that's probably 20 years old. And I'm thinking, why is that? I think part of it is that they're selling us this package of everybody moved to a like my dad calls it a beehive community or beehive mindset. It all come together in this one central. And the reason why I say that because on a big island where you went, you can still buy a nice like you can buy 20 acres for 300,000.
S- yeah, there's a bunch. We were at
Yeah,
Kona, and the property, like a lot of things for sale, and we were wondering, like, what happened to them? Like, is there just not enough people here? Is it
yeah.
seasonal? Like, we didn't know because we're obviously just tourists. But when we saw the for sale signs, we have like money signs in our eyes because the price compared to California is like it's
Hmm.
affordable to live on Kona than it is to live in California. Like, it made no sense to us. Like, it's a tropical, beautiful island, and why is it more expensive in California? And we were in the East Bay, California, so right outside of San Francisco. But
I
yeah,
for Kona, I think Well, Big Island in general, there's not a lot of jobs. One,
Oh,
any major provision of jobs would be in the service industry. So you're talking what, $20 an hour employee. So they probably can't afford more than $1,200 a month rent. So from a business perspective, you would basically have to, if you buy it, would be like a vacation rental where you would charge an exorbitant amount. Like, so we have family that comes and they vacation to Hawaii. They'll spend, I think, $1,200 a day to rent out an Airbnb. So if you rent it out 6 months out of the year, you're good.
yeah, that's true.
And then
Yeah.
the other 6 months you stay in it yourself, where you don't have to get a hotel.
Yeah, that Airbnb has been a game changer. It's literally created new service industries. That one app, like that is, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We have a property in Hilo on the other side of, so Kona is the dry side, Hilo's the rainforest side. So we got some land over there. We just don't have a we don't have it's a jungle. It's a straight
Oh,
up
okay.
jungle. Yeah.
Is it
So
chickens? You got chickens?
probably
Yeah.
um I think last year my plan was to go over there and get a bulldozer and just clear it out, but just never happened. And we don't have the money to really build anything yet. So it's gonna, and I don't know what we want to build yet. I think I had a dream to do a yurt. You ever seen a yurt?
Yes. Oh, dude. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought about doing the same thing out here in because it's mobile. They're mobile
Yeah.
and but they're climate controlled. Yeah, they're badass. They're awesome.
My friend on a big island, he was like, "Don't do a yurt here because it'll be a mold or mildew magnet
Uh,
because of the moisture.
yeah.
But any other place, I think it'd be great." And they're like, I think about 30 grand, 30 40,000. You can get one shipped,
Yeah.
a small one. I'm sure Hawaii's a lot more because of logistics, but yeah, the yurts are pretty cool.
They are. They are.
Yeah.
They're yeah, I think they're inspired by Mongolia, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. Yeah, we looked at so we thought about doing an Airbnb on the North Shore out of they had like an RV because yeah, we like to travel and we saw that some lady had a Airbnb for an RV spot. But I think what deterred us a little bit was it was an outhouse, which nothing wrong. Like I've done my time out in the field, but had an outhouse with an outdoor shower. And then I think there wasn't any climate control, and already know Hawaii can get really humid and it can get hot when we were looking to go, but we ended up just doing an Airbnb on um, Honolulu.
Now,
So
typically, you don't really need um, climate control in Hawaii just because of the trade winds. It's actually, if, a lot of the houses, they're designed with we call them jealousies, where it allows airflow through the home.
oh, okay.
Now, because of just the mass, what do you call it? Just these communities, these suburbs that they created. Yeah, you probably want to have climate because once you build a suburb, there's no wind. It
Yeah.
just blocks all the breeze. But if you have a property like, so we lived in Kailua, which is the east side. Like that house, we didn't need because the wind just came straight through. Yeah, it was beautiful. But yeah, so I think going back to the Airbnbs, that's something I would love to do on a big island because I looked at the income potential. My only reservation is having someone that we can trust to, clean
Oh,
it
the
out,
service, yeah, the service, yeah.
clean it out service, and it would almost have to be family, but even that's not a guarantee. Sometimes family is not always the most reliable, but nothing personal. Family is just sometimes. So what's on the horizon for you once you get out? I'm assuming you get out and then you get your degree. What's on the horizon for you? What do you see?
That's a really good question because it's a really good question. One of my dreams was to open a gym, and but then we'll be tied to a location. So
Mhm.
at least in the startup phases of the gym, and both of us are. My wife's a F45 coach. We both love fitness. She likes doing more of the weightlifting fitness stuff more than I do. Like I still like it, but I prefer jujitsu. Like to me, just train jujitsu. Like I would if I can just train jujitsu 7 days a week, I'd be happy man. Be awesome. But we were thinking about that, and then the idea of just being fully retired. So we thought about just getting a job for about a year, paying off the properties, and then once the properties are paid off, then we can be fully retired. Um, and we'll be young. So, but we're not sure. And so I definitely want to stay in fitness regardless because fitness is something I enjoy doing. Um, she enjoys fitness, so we keep going back to the whole gym idea. It's just Kentucky and gyms are in California. A gym will work really well. In
Yeah.
Kentucky, a gym it's Kentucky and West Virginia are the top five worst states in America for health and fitness. To be a leader in that is it's easy, but it's not easy if that makes any sense.
The gym would be like if you guys open a gym, it would be because of the community aspect. You think?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Working with people that want to be there, and then helping them go from point A all the way to um, wherever the transformation is, and then continue to help like having create mentors within the community. Because when people see other people transform, it just inspires other people. Like
Right.
it I don't want to call it cancer, but it continues to spread even further, right? It goes
Yeah.
out into the community. Um, so that's yeah, cancer is a horrible word for that, but I couldn't think of a proper word. A seed. Oh, there you go. A seed, maybe.
You guys do competitions, both you and her?
No, she does F45 coaching, and then I train jujitsu. So I do jujitsu competitions.
Okay.
But actually, I lied. She does do competition. She does those. Oh man,
Was
like
it
this.
CrossFit? She does CrossFit.
Yeah, she does CrossFit. Yeah, she did CrossFit a couple years ago, but there's a different competition. Oh, the Spartan DECA. Does that sound
Oh,
familiar?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she does those. And she's all about building communities. So yeah, she's a first sergeant for an academy. So she's all about the leadership roles and inspiring others for change. She's a very good motivator.
I guess the big question is how, if you do start it, how big do you want it to get?
So
Right.
yeah, exactly. I was talking with a couple gym owners, and they talked about how they started small, and then they like, I wish I would have started with a bigger space from the get go, because transitioning from a small space to a medium space is almost a waste of time. So are you willing to take the risk starting in a medium or big space right off the bat, but then you have the if it doesn't work out, but how do you mitigate that? Get some guaranteed customers to come in to help pay the bills, or have a reserve fund. But if it doesn't work out, then you're kind of out all that money. So it's a tough question that we haven't cracked the egg. Like mathematically, we can put it all out there and see what it's at. But then those lease commitments, that's a
Mhm.
contract you're signing with somebody. So
Yeah. I think especially this generation, this time, like if you start a business like that, like for us, our plan this year is to find a studio space where it'll be for media, podcasting, but I also for church as well. So it'll be multi-purpose.
oh
We can have church services as
yeah.
well on Sundays, and then offer people consulting, right? So if they want to do their own productions, whatever, nothing major or big, but that's one of our dreams is to have a physical, and eventually in Hawaii we have one as well. So I'm like, hey Dom, you're gonna be in Hawaii next week. Let's meet up. Let's go record. So something like that. But I think even in a gym, like I used to work for 24 Hour Fitness. One of the biggest expenses they had was hardware. Right, anything metal, it's an expense. Right, maintenance, lubrication, rusting, all those things. And I think most of their equipment they leased it. They didn't own the equipment, so they had someone come in and maintain,
Yeah.
or swap it out, whatever. So that's one of the things with the gym too, right? Like, are you gonna do iron? Are you gonna do pads? You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
think
exactly.
pads would be
Yeah.
so much easier, right?
Yeah, like we we had thought about it, right? So if we're gonna open jiu-jitsu studio with like a functional fitness, because we're both into functional fitness, and I know like whoever, if there's bodybuilders out there like, oh, what's functional fitness? That's lame. But as you get older, you realize that bodybuilding stuff and that strongman stuff, that ain't where it's at. Like it's about getting to the later years of your life healthy and injury free.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of the demographic we want to work with, because her parents are like huge, um, how do I say, like idols for us, because they're in their 70s and they look phenomenal. They don't just look phenomenal, they're in phenomenal shape, and they took care of their bodies for the majority of their lives. And um, her grandfather, he's an older guy, he's in his 90s, and he's still going strong, like hitting the gym at 90. So it's like that's good stuff. Like
So
obviously you're gonna have some health complications, but
so you're half Filipino.
I'm half Filipino, yeah.
What's the other half?
German Irish.
German
So
Irish. Okay, so you got the robustness of the German. What's the German and what?
Irish,
Irish.
yeah. I get to
Uh,
see the red hair.
yeah, okay, he's got that.
Yeah.
And then you got the longevity of the Filipino. Filipinos, they have very high life expectancy for the man, anyway, for sure. Well, depending where you live, but and then her side is what is her side?
Polish, and I don't remember her mom's side. The father's Polish, but I don't remember her mom's side.
That's some tough bloodlines right
Yeah.
there.
But yeah, they're down with the cold weather. Oh yeah.
Filipino, like, so my dad is 70. I don't know how old he is, but my dad still teaches pickleball. He travels, every week, every other week. He's traveling a lot. He's teach pickleball. Um, yeah, my dad's he's done everything. He used to do hiking. When my mom passed, he would go hiking. That he probably regrets because he beat himself up pretty bad hiking.
Is he in Hawaii still?
No, he's in Oregon. He's with us
Oregon?
now.
Okay.
Yeah, but so he's born in 47. So whatever that is, he's 70 something, 74. I don't. I'm bad with math. He's still strong though. I know there's a time coming where he's gonna have to slow down a little bit, but something about the Filipino, it's
Yeah.
kind of a cheat code.
Yeah, it definitely, it's funny because wherever you see, yeah, high density of Asian populations like Filipinos, Koreans, and Japanese, I mean Chinese too. You definitely will see an older generation there, like present, right, out and about. In some demographics, you don't really see that too often because they're bound to their home for
Yeah.
because of health issues. So I never, I want to say I would never, but couldn't imagine talking about longevity and health now when I was, 20 and 30 years old. Back then you didn't care about that kind of stuff. And you know, now that I'm older, it's like, oh, that stuff, it matters. What you do over the period of years is going to have a huge impact of what happens in your later years.
Now, how long you been doing jujitsu?
I started in 2014, or 2013, 2014 officially. I did Army combatives, just in the Army. We had a platoon sergeant, I'll never forget, every Thursday, it's called Sergeant's Time Training. We would go to the gym, had some mats laid out, and we'd practice combatives. Basically, it was his opportunity to practice jujitsu and MMA on us, and we would just have to survive. Um, but it made us tough, and prepared us for the realities of war and what could happen. And that was, yeah, early in my career. Then I took a Army combatives class in 2010, but before our deployment to my second time to Afghanistan. So that was a lot of fun. So just a week of training combatives. And I started like, oh, this is grappling's fun, kickboxing's fun. Didn't really pursue it at all until 2013, 2014. and I fell in love. So I actually started with Muay Thai. Like
Ooh,
started Muay Thai is fun, right? So like watching
how's
the
your
videos growing up.
how's your shins? You got
My
good shins?
shins were fine. So I wore we had pads, and then I had shin guards.
Okay,
When it came to sparring, yeah, you respect the intensity of the kick. So do like the Thai sparring where
yeah,
you're touching, you're not really going full Godzilla mode on
of
your training
course.
partner. Um, but yeah, so my buddy was like, "Hey, come try jujitsu." I was like, "Oh, I'm good. I'll just stick to kickboxing." He's like, "No, no, come try." I was like, "All right, I'll show up." I was like, "Oh, this is fun," and I was like, "I'm getting beat up. Like this is fun. Like who would have thought getting beat up would feel so awesome, right?" Got demolished for a whole hour, and then like, yeah, I'll come back. And all of a sudden, I stopped going to Muay Thai and boxing, and just stuck to jujitsu. And had a couple of long layoffs when I moved from Kentucky to California. I didn't train. I didn't train for like 4 years, but then I started training hard again right after COVID happened, actually. And then I found a place that would let me train, and they were just kind of like keeping everything closed, and hey, make sure you wear your mask. And like, all right, and then like as long as you don't tell anyone you're training here, or no one gets, if you get COVID, like stay away, whatnot. Don't go to parties. Um, yeah, so I've been training hard since 2020, besides my long layoff. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I wish
I
I never
see.
took breaks.
I see you guys. You train in gi, right?
Yeah, we train both, but yeah,
Oh,
I prefer gi personally.
yeah,
Um, the guys out here, a lot of wrestlers, they prefer no gi.
right. Of course, wrestlers. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right.
uh, I I think 20 years ago. So one of my guests, I brought David Padilla. He's a I can say this now because he's not here, but so at the time he was a captain of police department in Hawaii, and I trained with him 20 wow 25 years ago.
Oh
I
wow.
started training with him with in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. We did some kickboxing, did it all,
Yeah,
and I thought I was going to get in a ring one day and actually mix it up, but I never did because it was just I wasn't cut out for that. It's a whole different ball game from the mat to in the ring. But I enjoyed some of the best workouts I ever had in my life. I would go home in bruises like all over my arm. My wife is like, "What are they doing to you?" It's like, "What are these bruises?" And then worse yet, there'll be days where I couldn't turn around or I couldn't sit up because I'm just so beat up.
yeah.
Like my back is like, tweaked. I'm like,
Oh
or my
yeah.
neck, like, because I was kind of prideful. So there were times where I should have tapped earlier and I just didn't. It's like, okay. I was like, you tap real gentle, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
after a while, I'm like, it's
Yeah,
like, but that's why I asked earlier. I think the younger the guys are, sometimes I feel like they kind of just want to work you a little bit, like not really teach each other, right? So yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you'll see that a lot. Like the younger guys, like, how is this older guy that's smaller than me beating me up like that? They don't. The ego cannot comprehend what's happening. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I remember when I was younger too. Like, I'd use my strength and speed to my advantage, right?
yeah.
Wrong answer. Wrong answer. Wrong answer.
I remember when I first started learning, like for people that don't know hooks, right? When you feel the hooks coming in, you smiling. Okay, I see what you're doing. And then after a while, it's like it's second nature, right?
Yeah,
But then when the new guys, when they don't know, and you're just like, it's like playing chess. I guess it's like playing chess, right? That's how you describe it.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Have you thought about going back into it?
yeah, but I want to lose some weight. Like I don't want to go in there because I already know I'm going to be huffing and puffing.
Go, just go, just
No,
go,
yeah, yeah.
just
Well,
go.
especially here, because we're in a farm town,
Oh, okay.
and this is I'm putting up a fake excuse, but in this farm town, the guys that go to there's only one gym here that they teach Brazilian jiu jitsu, and so I'm like, I don't want to go over there and get worked by these guys. Like, I'm gonna see them at church on Sunday, So, but yeah, I am thinking about it. And my boys, I want to get my boys, and I might just put up mats in my in our. We have a little barn, I might just do it here, and we just start out just simple things, and
Yeah.
just even getting some kettlebells. You know, I was always against kettlebells because my background is, sports, and then I did bodybuilding, and I always made fun of those guys that use kettlebells. But now here I am, pushing 50. I'm like, I think a kettlebell would look nice. So, but yeah, I would love to get into. My only reservation is I don't want to go to a gym where a guy doesn't wear a shirt. That's my pet peeve. I
Yeah.
can't. I don't like that.
You get the hair chest all up in your face.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like, what the heck, bro? Shout out to Danny Carlos. He's a cop out there in Hawaii. He was famous for his chest hair and no shirt. Couldn't stand you, Danny Carlos. But he's the guy I used to train with. At the time, I think he was 230, 225. He was heavy, and I was only 155 at the time. And he would use his body weight. And I'm gonna call him out because he didn't have any technique. I'm just calling you out, Danny Carter. He had no technique, but his weight, I'm like, oh my god, I can't breathe.
Side
And
control forever.
I'm like, but then I submitted a few times, so he was. It's funny. We'll make fun of him now, but he was a bodybuilder, so big and so strong, but it was so easy to tap him out. And then of course David Padilla, who taught everybody. I think I asked you about was it the breathing? I asked you a question about the breathing, right? So this is what I wanted to tell you. My friend David, he used to fight professional, but the 3 fights that we were able to see in person, like he always got choked out and he would always tap. And so the joke moving forward was, okay, Dave, so next week Monday we're gonna give you a straw, or we're gonna give you a snorkel. So you can train with a snorkel. You learn how to breathe through a straw. But going back to the gi, I know very well what it feels like to get choked out by a gi. That's not fun. That
It's a lot of people don't like it, and a lot of the new stuff is going away from gi. Like a lot of the grappling is
Yeah.
all a lot of no gi, but there is a lot of fundamental, like case in point. A few weeks ago, about a month or so ago, my buddy showed up to no gi class wearing his hoodie because it was super cold. Well, to me, the hood is available, and I used it and just hit that baseball choke on him. And I was like, "Hey, bro, you wore your hoodie to class." I couldn't help myself. We didn't say that was a dirty move or anything, but we were both laughing. And but yeah, like training in the gi, it gives you all those extra grips, and it slows. For me, I like it because I get to slow down, go at a slower pace, and it's just it gives you all those extra grips. And like you said, that extra lapel or sleeve to get choked out with, it doesn't.
So what do you call the one where the 2 sides and you just kind of basically cross?
Oh yeah, cross color, cross
Oh yeah.
color. And then you have the bow and arrow choke, which is one of my favorites.
The cross one doesn't feel. It feels like a knife going to my neck.
Yeah.
That's what it really felt like.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you should get back into it though. Like your muscle memory will be there. Like I'm positive.
I am passionate about even like bodybuilding, but not like how I used to. And I've been very open about this, but I'm naturally 140, and I hit a peak where I think 155, where I say I want more, and I ended up taking performance enhancing stuff. And it's ironic that I did all that because I am terrified of needles. Even to this day, as a kid, I would scream at just the sight of a needle, and I shot my rear end and quads for 10 years, 12 years, just to get this look. And to all of my bodybuilder friends, let's be honest, bodybuilding is not a sport. It's a beauty pageant, right? So they're going to be mad at it. No, it's not a sport. I'm not saying you're not an athlete, but bodybuilding competitions are not. Let me rephrase it. Bodybuilding competitions are not a sport. It's a beauty contest, right? Because there's no objective markers, right? It's all based on visual. What do I think you look like? So anyway, but yeah, I would love to get into that to kind of clean up the physique, because I joke about it, but at the end of the day, all of this it's for me, but it's also for my wife. I want to look sexy for my wife. So,
Absolutely.
but I will. I would love to get into something where with my boys where they can, be a part of that for sure. As a kid, I used to Aikido, and
Oh
I used
yeah, the yeah.
and Steven Seagal, he gave it a bad rap, um, but Aikido is awesome. I love. It's kind of fake how they portray it in movies, but it's still. I was going to ask you something about jiu-jitsu. I'm trying to remember, what was I going to ask you? Oh, the history of it. Are you aware of the history of jiu-jitsu? Not the Brazilian, but the Japanese one.
So the Japan is it no? So actually, I'm not. Now you got me stumped. Does that have anything to do with the samurai and
Yeah,
the?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Yes.
this is probably oversimplified, but every culture in history has some form of martial art where they had to figure stuff out, right? So, if I'm not mistaken, the core of jiu-jitsu is finding weaknesses in appendages, right, or linkages, whatever you want to call it. So, for people that don't know, like the samurai were ruthless. With this armor, and they had to figure, how can I defeat this? Because we don't have the weaponry, and they figured out, small finger or small, what do you call it? Small joint, small finger
Yep.
manipulation.
Yep.
Um, that's where the whole tossing people around came from, right? Because they couldn't
Yeah.
defeat them through the armor, and then of course joint manipulation and bending it the opposite way. So
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. No, you're right. So the jujitsu scholars out there are probably like, Dom is not a real jujitsu guy because he doesn't remember the history. But I do remember, like, you had judo, which I don't know what it stands for, but he had talked, doing the throws, and there was a lot of before the sport of judo, like the combat side of judo is like you said, like small joint manipulation, arm locks,
Yeah,
and the throws, and then like in the gi, like it mirrors with the samurai war, like
yeah.
the kimono. And jujitsu, don't quote me on this. I think one of it means sport, like something sport. Jitsu means sport. We'll probably Google it later. But anyways, how it became a derivative of judo, and yeah, like the Army Combatives program is based off of taking all of the best components of different. It's like America, right? America's a melting pot. So
Right.
Army Combatives is a melting pot of the best martial arts: kickboxing, boxing, grappling, and wrestling. Because like Russia has sambo, Korea has taekwondo, Brazil has Brazilian jiu-jitsu, America has wrestling, and so does other countries. Japan has
Philippines.
judo, Philippines has a kali. Yeah, yeah, that's a big deal. The arnes and the kali.
Israel. They have that. It's a
Israel, yeah,
I can't say
Ramagal. Yeah,
Kramaga. Yeah.
yeah. So it's good stuff there.
Even the story of is it Helio Gracie,
Yeah,
how he brought it to Brazil. That's such a crazy story. How he
yeah. A small guy literally created a dynasty. It's nuts, nuts.
There's a great podcast with Hoisey and Joe Rogan. Did you ever see that episode?
Maybe.
It was a good one. It was recent in the past 6 months.
Oh, okay.
But
Then no.
It was so good. And Hoist, he's I didn't realize he's a funny person, but he talks about how I think growing up in that family is so big, right? There's so many people in the Gracie family, and so Hoist just so happened to be the guy that would be the tip of the spear in that family. And so he said his dad would say, Hoist, don't hurt them. You just show them how it's done. But basically, I'm paraphrasing. Don't hurt them. You win the match, but you don't hurt them. You show the world what this family is all about, right? And so I'm thinking, wow, I remember the time when he grabbed Kimo's hair back in the '90s. I don't know if you've seen that fight where he fought.
Or the Kimu?
It was
Uh,
UFC. I think UFC one or
or two?
two,
Yeah. Yeah.
and Kimo was, you know, pounding him, and he just ended up grabbing his hair. And there's no rules, right? So
Yeah.
pulls out a chunk of his hair. It's like, But yeah, Hoyce Gracie and Hoyce said, my dad was always about the technique and just don't hurt them, you win, and you show the world. And he says, my mom though, my mom is like, kill them, you kill them all, destroy them, you know. But the Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, man, such a it's I prefer. I don't know. I'm not a student of both of them, but I just understand the basis. But I do enjoy watching more Brazilian jiu-jitsu than, and there's not a lot of people there probably promoting Japanese pure, jiu-jitsu. But I think with what the Gracie family has done, for sure, they really open it up for the world.
For
That's what
sure.
I believe.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, definitely. And to that point, they're doing fights, UFC fights in, was it Riyadh and Abu Dhabi, like how, yeah, all the way to the Middle East. Like I'm sure there's jujitsu everywhere but Antarctica. There might be some in Antarctica, who knows? But yeah, yeah, some of like my favorite uh Roger Gracie out in Europe. He's just like a fundamentally perfect jujitsu dude, and yeah, I love watching his ADCC matches. Like you said, cross collar choke for mount, basic. They teach you in like day one class, and just a master at basics, and just makes it look flawless. That stuff is fun to watch.
Now, what belt do you have, or do you?
Yeah, so I'm a purple belt right now.
Ooh. I heard that's the hardest.
The blue belt is the hardest because that's where
Blue?
everyone quits. Yeah, everyone quits at blue. Everyone gets their blue and they disappear.
Huh. And then black is right after purple, correct?
Brown. There's
Oh,
brown.
brown.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
maybe it's
not really.
maybe brown. I've heard brown is one just because of what you have to go through.
Well, because with brown, there's not much of it. Like there is a technical distinction between brown and black, but I know a lot of brown belts that are no different than black belts. It's just they haven't been training as long as a black belt has. So I guess
Because
it really depends on the professor.
obviously, I'm not speaking from experience, but just some of the documentaries and podcasts where guys saying that once I get the brown belt and once I got my black belt, going from brown to black, it's almost like nothing for them. That's what they said. But
Yeah,
to get to the brown belt, it was so hard for a lot of them. And once you get there, getting the black belt is kind of like, okay, you've earned it. So here, let's. I mean, you still got to go through, right? But yeah,
yeah, yeah. So, and that's the thing with like jujitsu and any martial art, but where you train at matters because you
you're
can
right.
go to places that they base it on attendance, or they get a place that based on performance, and then you have places that do a mix of both. But it's really good that there are places out there that really, all right, these are the things that you have to have proficiency in certain areas before they level you up, um, and not just attendance based. Because when you do things that are attendance based, then a guy that's a brown belt but getting submitted by white belts or blue belts, but he's wearing the brown. It's like it's a little weird. You don't really want that. It's a bad rap.
I won't call out any gyms or anything, but there are some where growing up, like everybody knew that if you go to this gym, they won't advance you after a certain point. Like no matter how hard you work, and a lot of it was because it's a family business, so they can't have you advancing to such a high level, and they're not going to teach you everything because that jeopardizes their business.
Yeah.
Because you go open up your own gym,
Yep. Yeah.
so
Yeah. You hear about that. You definitely hear about that.
so you got a good gym. Sounds like where they'll just teach you no matter what.
Yeah. It's a really good gym. The owners they have a law enforcement background, so they have like the practical. So that's why like talk about just do it like all day, but the there's the combative side of like right now it's heavily in the sport aspect where you're you're bound by the rules of the sport where there's no striking, but real real jiu-jitsu involved the combative side of defending against punches, defending against kicks,
Right.
going for the takedown. Like a lot of academies start from the knees or the seated position where you don't if you're in a fight, you're not going to be sitting on your butt waiting for your opponent to come at you. You're going to be standing up and You know, are you going to initiate the clench and the takedown, or are you going to have to respond and go to guard, like fall into guard or something, and like knowing how to fall. So like the gym that we go to, Straight Blast Gym, West Virginia, it's fundamental based, focused heavy on the combative side of jiu-jitsu and understanding self-defense, because that's ultimately what it's about, right? Being prepared for the unexpected.
Right.
That's why to me it's super cool. And then it translates into competition too. So like whatever you learn still works in the competition sports side of jiu-jitsu.
I think every law enforcement, military, I think they should all incorporate the boss routine barroom tactics. You ever seen that video?
No, but it sounds cool. Sounds like some Roadhouse stuff going on.
Legit. Yeah, yeah. But it's boss routine. If you know boss routine.
Oh, Boss Rutan. Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Slaps, kicks. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Slap, kick the groin.
Yep.
Yeah. He was a vicious. Oh my! I used to watch him in Pancrase,
Oh, yeah.
and that's where no gloves.
No gloves. Shamrock. Him and Shamrock.
Did you see that one?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite. Especially when he got Shamrock in the face and he just kept hitting him, and Shamrock goes, "Woo!" Like it's like it hurt. It hurt because actually Shamrock tapped out, or I think he tapped out, or they called it. They threw in the top something. I think he got hurt really bad in that fight. But Boss Rutan, he'd be a good instructor for something.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, those I think Danish guys, those European guys are pretty gnarly when it comes to the kickboxing, the striking.
You know what it is? It's the weather conditions, man. All those people that live in like Germans and Polish, like they gotta weather those crazy winters, so they gotta get tough,
Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. But no, you're spot on with the police, like all first responders, like soldiers, police. They need to understand that. And there's been footage lately out of what's going on in Ukraine and in Russia, where people are going to hand-to-hand combat, where there's been a lot of the recent stuff is fighting from a distance, like having, you're not really seeing the whites of your enemy's eyes. Well, now it's like there's doing trench warfare, hand-to-hand combat, even with the drone stuff. So yeah, it's the environment's evolving, but you're absolutely right. Police and first responders need to know that. They definitely need to know that stuff.
Do you train or have you trained with law enforcement personnel in
the gym?
Either in the gym or even in the military. You ever train with law enforcement?
Yes. Yeah. So I started off as military police.
Okay.
And then I transitioned. I did like that for 10 years, and then I did corrections and detention for another 10 years.
What?
I'm finishing my career in correction detentions, and I was a corrections instructor for 4 years at Fort Knox. So we did a lot of firearms training, and then I taught unarmed self-defense during that time.
Okay, so you know how to wrestle.
We teach. Yeah.
It's a joke, but I have a friend who's been in corrections 20 years. Like, he knows how to wrestle guys, because just sometimes they'll and when he was younger, they would test him, right? And of course, he has a big ego, so they usually end up on the ground, But that's cool. Corrections, military, police. Matter of fact, the guy. So the ad I think I played that, the 5 and 7 tactical.
Yeah.
That's my friend David's company, and he at the time of our podcast, he was chief of police for Hickam. Hickam?
The Air Force Base?
No. I'm sorry. Let me fact check myself. So he's for the Army.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. DES, Department of Energy or Emergency Services.
Yeah. So I think he was interim for a minute, and they asked him if he wanted the job, and he's like, "No, I'll do it for now, but it's just not." Because he's got other things going, because he teaches firearms safety, and that's where I got my certification. So and he's kind of like you. He's got rental properties. So he's got a lot going on outside of his nine. He loves his 9 to 5. He loves serving, but he's been there 20 years. So I'm sure within a few years he's gonna transition full time to just
Yeah.
teaching and training and making money off of his properties and stuff. So yeah, wow, MP corrections. Which would you say is harder, the MP work or corrections?
Corrections. So MP work is military police.
Yeah,
Most of my time military police was doing the tactical stuff, the deployments. I did work the road for a little while at Fort Lewis, which that made me not ever want to be a police officer working the road. It's a hard job. It's a
yeah,
really hard job, and massive respect to the guys that do it. But dealing with people, I was like, yeah, I went into the army to be military police so I could go CID, get my
okay,
degree, and be FBI. And that was my dream plan. I was like, do 5 years, get out. I got to the army. They're like, don't unpack your bags after boot camp. Don't unpack your bags. We're going to Iraq. I was like, okay, I didn't sign up for that. I had a plan. You're messing up my plan, guys. But anyways, after doing military police, I did a deployment as a detention NCO. And I remember going through and processing. They're like, this is going to be the hardest mission you're ever going to do. And I was like, there's no way. I've already been 2 deployments. I was a squad leader. There's no way that this is going to be the hardest thing ever. And that was a 9-month deployment in working inside a facility. And that was the most stressful job I've ever worked in my entire life. When you're dealing with detainees or inmates, whatever, you're babysitting grown adults,
yeah.
but they're grown adults that want to kill you. So your stress level is super high. Um, and that was the hardest job I ever did. And then managing the soldiers, overseeing, because I was a squad leader, managing soldiers, I was in charge of a facility. Like that's another level of stress. And I'll never forget, I was in school a couple years later. I did a research project on corrections officers, the life expectancy of corrections officers after retirement, and it's bad. It's really bad because they're so used to high
Mm,
adrenaline,
right.
and living like the lifestyle of shift work is hard, right? You're eating bad food, energy drinks, caffeine, alcoholism, depression. It's a bad mix. So I would say corrections is a harder job than uh, regular law enforcement. That's just my opinion.
So in the facility you worked at, were they all military personnel that were convicted, or how does like what type of people?
So what I can say, they were detainees.
Detainees. Okay,
Yeah, that's all I can say about that.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially I can totally imagine how stressful. I mean, just doing it in a domestic setting, because
Yeah.
that's tougher because now you got families that maybe they know where you live, right? And this is domestic stuff, but
Correct. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
You could potentially have a target on your back,
yeah,
being close to home, and then yeah, your own stress of your family. Then your family's at a potential vulnerability.
yeah.
Same thing with law enforcement officers. So yeah, it's a yeah. There needs to be more good people out there. That's what I like to say. There needs to be more good people, good strong people.
I tried to be a cop when I was in my 20s, all around the time when I was training with David and doing the jujitsu. I tried to be a cop 3 times, and I always made it. I always passed the physical, all that stuff. And when I got to the psych eval, failed every time. They didn't like my answers.
You're crazy.
They just I don't know what it was. They didn't like my answers, and probably my past didn't line up to what I was telling. That's probably what it was too. So yeah. And now that I'm older, I look back, I'm like, I should have said this. I should have said that. I'm like, no, God had a path that was very specific.
Exactly. Exactly.
All I know
Exactly.
is I would have been the cop, hiding in the shadows with my lights off, and I'll catch you. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would never be visible. I'd be the cop hiding in the shadows. you know. But
No.
I'm glad that came through this path. I will say. So law enforcement, I wrote on CID. So for people that don't know, that's Criminal Investigation Division, right?
Yes, yeah.
So you would have been something like a profiler, perhaps, or some kind of detective in that sense.
So I was hoping to do, yeah, investigations of some sort.
Investigation.
Um, yeah, I was really hoping to go down that lane. But then working the road, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this at all. Like, I'm good. I don't want to deal with crazy people. Don't want to deal with the nastiness of the world. But here I am, still in the military, doing corrections. So
Well, when you're on the road, just from my family, my auntie retired from HPD, Honolulu Police Department, and a lot of good friends. And one of the things I always hear is that people lie to you every single day, right? Every single day, someone's lying to you. I didn't see the sign. I didn't know how fast I was going. I didn't know that he was there, and whatever, right? He hit me first, whatever. So I get it. Like that's a tough job to have. I will say. Like I don't know if I could. Maybe that's why God spared me from that. Because I will probably be like, fight it out. I'll come back
yeah,
later. I'll come back later. But no, you can't do that. Yeah. So now, now are you? So what is your actual job? Are you able to see your job
yeah. So
duties?
now
Okay.
here I do, I'm an operations manager for logistics.
Okay.
So it's immaterial. It's just like a managerial position. It doesn't matter what my actual um, specialty is. And we train soldiers in logistics jobs, whether it's like supply disciplines, food, like cooking, supply automation, fueling, with some shower services, and petroleum. So I'm not that specialty at all. Like I'm military police side, but the position I'm in is just a managerial position, and we just make sure our instructors are there with the resources they need to teach other soldiers. So I'm part of a uh, training organization, and we just help facilitate training for that to happen all across. Like we have California, Kentucky, Virginia, and New Jersey. So we're spread out 4 different states. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool job. It's constantly there's stuff going on because you're dealing with people and logistics. You're getting people to places. It's been a fun ride, but ready to hang it up.
Do you think that was the Army's gift to you on your way out? Something.
That's a bad gift. It wasn't a great gift.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great gift. It was. It's yeah. It's been. Yeah. My the Army's gift to me was California.
Yeah.
I was stationed in California for 4 years. You can't beat that. Right there in the East Bay. Um, yeah, it was a good unit that I was in. Got to experience a lot of California, and so yeah, I think that was probably my gift from the Army.
California's got a lot to offer.
It does. It
Yeah.
does. It has a bad rap because of politics, but
Yeah.
you have everything there. You have the mountains, you have the ocean, you have the desert. You just don't have the tropical. That's the only thing you don't have, right? You have the
Yeah.
forests, but yeah, we loved it out there. It's just very expensive to live.
It is sad how politics have. Yeah, it is sad because I have my business partner lives in the Bay Area, and I always joke with him. I'm like, "Did you check your app today?" And it's kind of a joke, but did you check your app today? And the poop app. So
Oh,
yeah,
geez. See the new publications of where
yeah,
some of the,
yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
man.
But
Yeah.
I think he's going to get out soon. Hopefully, he gets out if everything works out well for him. But he loves it there. He's been there for a while, and that's where he's in the tech industry. So he's the one we started. We did an analytics company on this platform back in 2016, and then we started a crypto company in 2019. I forget what year. It was 2019. I forget already. Oh no, 2021. We started a cryptocurrency company together, and we met everybody on Twitter, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was, and we still to this day. As a matter of fact, on our Discord, I probably got a few of them listening right now, but they're we stay connected, and we have another project. I don't have a time. I always promise people stuff, but we never. I got to be careful. I always try to say, hey, I got something coming, but then for whatever reason, we can't put it out just yet. So,
So,
oh,
Greg, I want to ask you, you had mentioned earlier about being in like a different network. Have you ever done BNI, Business Network International? Was that what you were talking about? It was way back. I meant to ask you about it. You
no,
were
I
talking about,
never heard of BNI. What is BNI?
oh, so Doc, the engineer,
Yeah.
he brought it up to me. So it's BNI's Business Network International, and it's kind of a community where you have one person of each service industry, like an accountant or a lawyer, where they share, I guess, like clients or
Oh.
leads, and they help each other get further leads. But there's a membership, there's a cost to it. I think it's like $800 a month. I went to a meeting and I heard their pitch, and you're allowed to pitch as a guest like what services you offer. So like but there can only be one representative of that specific niche. So like if you're a construction guy, what specifically do you in construction? Are you that roofer? Are you an electrician? Because you can only handle like one seat. And it was a pretty cool thing. Because when you had mentioned earlier about being in a room full of lawyers, accountants, and loan officers, I was wondering if that was a BNI event.
Oh, yeah. So, and we have a weird. So my wife and I got married in '04, and then my parent. We lived with my parents for a year, and at the time, my parents only had two properties at the time. So we lived with them after we got married to save some money, and then my mom was like, "We have a home for you. Uh, Take a look at it." So we did all the paperwork things we thought, and when I saw my payment, I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's a lot of money. For me, that's a lot of money I gotta pay every month. And my mom and my wife were like, just do it. So we got the house, and I was like, that's a lot of money. And so, but through that connection, right around that time is when they were doing stated income. I'm not sure if you remember that stated income adjust. So you talked about 2008.
Yeah.
So it all started around 2005, where how my friend was able to buy 10 houses in 1 year was everything was done off of stated income. So
Oh, so they didn't have to verify any.
yeah, you just say, hey, this is what it. As long as you had a good credit score, right, and your DTI, your debt to income wasn't too crazy, then you could
Yeah.
get anybody could get a loan. Um, so that's kind of how we got started in that. So that network was more of an in-house, all family, friends. Um, Anybody wants to fact check my story, just Google Easy Mortgage Hawaii, and I'm putting it on blast. But it's all in the past. So, but Easy Mortgage Hawaii was the office that we were operating out of. Um, my auntie was the one who took the brunt of it all. But yeah, so that office was just. I will say the positives we learned about that, Dom, is the level of excellence in terms of making money. It was crazy. Like we took. I got some crazy, but we took vacations where I remember, and to encourage anybody that maybe you're struggling financially, and we all go through seasons, right? But there's a time when we just go shopping, and and I probably now that I'm older, I probably should have been a little bit more deliberate on looking at price tags. But there's times where you've got X amount in your account, and you're like, whatever you want, honey. That's a good feeling to have, right? But a very irresponsible way of stewarding your finances. But there were times where you're like, okay, yeah, whatever you want, honey. Not even looking at the price tag, not even thinking about it, just like whatever you want, honey. It's like it was good in a way. It's kind of prideful, I will say, but at the same time, like it felt good. I'm like, man, I wish I could go back and like, hey, Greg, just hold up for a second. Look at the price tags, manage better. And so that office generated that mint because we were not competing, but like if for example, one month, one of them made like $100,000 in a month just from flipping,
That's
right?
yeah. Wow. That's oh wow.
And well, that's how crazy it was back then. Because so you said like in '08, right? So if property values drop considerably, I meant to say this earlier, if property values drop considerably, a lot of times it's because they were inflated. And we weren't a part of that in Hawaii. Our office, I'll spill the beans. I'll call them out. We would get a property for, let's say, 500,000. We drop 20, 30, fix it up, paint it, whatever, fix the windows, make it look really nice. Um, what do you call those guys? The appraiser. We had a guy who was our appraiser. We had him on speed dial, and I won't say his name, but he ended up getting arrested too. But he would do appraisals on the properties, and not even exaggerating, the camera, he would face it up to not show whatever parts that were, damaged or whatever. So by getting a higher appraisal rate, you're getting a value of the home that's not entirely true. And what we were doing is we were buying and selling within our office. So we call them straw buyers. So I'm sharing a lot on this story, but so what happened was, if I sell to you, Dom, hey, I bought this for 500, I'll sell it to you for 6, but I'm in it at 520, so I make 80. You put in 20, fix it up a little bit, you sell it for 7. So you see how this happens So now you have a house that's 500 grand. Now it's selling for 900 on the market within 12 months. That's totally inflated. When a real buyer comes around to buy the house, they see, wow, this house is beautiful. Wow, the market value jumped from 5 to 9 within 12 months. What can I make out of it? They buy the house and they realize, wait a minute, they can't afford it anymore.
Oof.
Foreclosure, bankruptcy, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Now you got a house on the market that's 2, 3, 400,000 over market value. The thing is, see, Obama knew this, so that was. I know this sounds conspiracy, but they knew about inflated market values. They knew about fake loans. They knew about stated ink. They knew all about that, right? So, but yeah, that's all. How should I put that? That's a chapter of our life where we learned a lot in the area of business, where just because you can do it, that doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Yeah, being ethical for sure.
And we're a lot more humble. We live so much more humbly now, extremely a lot more humbly now than back then. But I don't know, man. I do you think you're gonna accumulate? Here, I want to ask you this question. I meant to ask you earlier. Do you agree with Kiyosaki? If you've ever heard this, but do you agree that when he says your home is not your largest investment?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a liability. It's an expense and a liability.
Right.
100%. Yeah, because you're living in it. It's not producing any income. It costs you money to maintain it. Yeah, I agree. If it's not putting cash in your pocket or equity in your pocket, then yeah, it's not. Cash is obviously king, but yeah, it's definitely not a lot of people don't like that. Everyone like, oh, my home's an investment.
No.
How much money is it making you? None. How is it an investment? It's not. It's not the case. So
Unless you got the title, you're 6 months away from losing it.
yeah, for sure. And you got to, and you still got to pay. Yes, you got to pay the state anyways, regardless, because you got to pay the state the taxes every year.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of people don't like it. Like if you say that, or your car is not an investment.
Car is never an investment.
Yeah, some people still believe that it is. It's like,
now, if you've got a 1969 Chevrolet Camaro and you buy that at a low price, maybe that's more of a collect. That's more of art. I would say that's more art than it is investment.
Yeah, no, I'm with Kiyosaki on that aspect. I think honestly, more people need to read that book, like The Rich Dad Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant. I need to reread Cash Flow Quadrant because it's been a couple years. Yeah, it'll change the way you think, what you're probably taught about money for a lot of people. I know I wasn't taught about assets and liabilities.
Yeah.
I had to learn all that stuff myself. Yeah, the rich dad poor dad, and unless you go to college for business, and then even if you go to college for business, you might not actually really learn it until you actually have to live it. There's a whole different story when you're learning about something on piece of paper, living in mom and dad's house versus living it in real life. That's where things get real. You know what I mean?
My wife and I got into some heated arguments this past 2 years because her degree is in business management. I think business management, but I will agree and disagree with what you said because the principles I think are there, but then some of the instructors, I'm like, honey, I don't even know if they're a business owner. I think they're just an instructor that's never actually walked the
Yeah.
chapters in there. Like, because some of the stuff doesn't make it's like some of those business courses in college, I think they teach you to where you learn about business so you can be an employee to feed the machine of keeping people enslaved to that machine.
Yes, I agree 100% to that. 100% to
And
that.
there's nothing, I mean, like I said, because I'll put it this way: when our business, it grows to a certain level, we're gonna need employees, and we're gonna treat them well, and we're gonna pay them well. So I'm not against people having a job because we all have jobs. It's just the type of job we have, right? But yeah, the business part of it, I highly recommend starting with Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think Cash Flow Quadrant is a good one to add. I have another one. Yeah, there's one called Fake. I have that. There's Loopholes of the Rich, which is kind of outdated, but it's still good principles. The other one um, I haven't finished it. It's a Capitalist Manifesto by Robert Kiyosaki.
I haven't read that. Yeah, I
It's
haven't read
a
that.
good start, like especially with what's happening now on the global scale. But this idea of capitalism, we were on a verge of. I don't want to sound conspiracy theory, but politically speaking, we were on a verge of adopting some heavy socialist principles in our country. You know, if
Yeah, well, I do agree 100%. And yeah, yeah, without sounding like putting our hats on right now, but I agree 100%. And I do believe there's enough aware, and then you have to be smart, enough aware people are like, wait a second. That don't make sense. Wait a second. What are you doing? Like enough aware people just kind of put a stop to that, thankfully, because yeah, there's a lot of people who don't even understand that we're operating on a fake currency system.
yeah,
Like something as simple as that. But no, you're right. You're right.
how would you describe when you say fake currency system?
Going away from the gold standard.
Right.
Fiat. We have our fiat currency. It's ones and zeros in a system. It's not backed by any asset. And the whole what do you call it? Quantitative easing that's been going on throughout the course of the years, like yeah, the World Bank or the Fed, what they have managed to do as a organization, it's crazy. It's to me, it's crazy. So I don't know how. Yeah, we kind of got really far off from knowing the value of our money.
Yeah.
Now we all just believe in the same lie. I'm not a Bitcoin guy or a crypto guy either. I'm just this is just the truth. Like there's a reason things happened back in the 70s, and yeah, kind of wondering how that JFK file goes down.
Oh, that should be fun. Yeah. I am curious how that's going to pan out. Like what is that? If you're okay going here, this is why I believe that they were doing everything they could to make sure that he did not get back into office. And
I
I,
come out Donald Trump.
yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
all costs. And it's like, so whether I'm politically left or right or middle, whatever, like you look at face value, why are they so adamant on not letting him get back in? Like, what is like something, so that there's something going on to where lifestyle, and I said this before, that lifestyles are going to be exposed. The machine is going to be exposed, and it has already. I think, like, for example, I forget the terminology, but where they say that they'll eat their own, right? So, like I throw some media names. So you know who Kevin Spacey is, right? Kevin Spacey. They threw him under the bus, and now you can't find him. Harvey Weinstein, they threw him under the bus, and you can't find him. Epstein, we all know what happened to him. P Diddy, we
Yeah,
all know
he's
what.
silent now. Yeah.
So it begs the question: why are these people? I think there's an uncovering where people that are connected to whatever this is, whatever evil agendas that these men and women think that they have power. I'm not saying Trump. Let's be clear. Trump is not a messiah. He's not the savior of the world, but he's opening the door for a lot of these things to be exposed, right? With Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. Um, I saw something the other day where they were sending money over to some foreign country for condom education or something.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if that's true,
I don't know
but
if it's true, but yeah, I saw that too. Um, yeah, it's yeah. Um, there's yeah, all that uncovering. People need to. There's a word that people don't like to hear, but it's becoming more and more prevalent. Accountability.
yeah,
People only like it when they can throw it at somebody else, but when it comes back, the word comes back to them, and or their organization, then it's like, oh, don't shine the light on me and my organization. Shine it on somebody else. Shine it on an organization here and there. You'll see that a lot in government, right? That's where it's funny because I have a conspiracy. Whenever we see a lot of initiatives push, it's because what is it? What is that initiative masking? And we start peeling back the layers of the onion, like let's get to the core root of what we're supposed to be doing. Like how do we overinflate our, like I'm not um I'll say it openly. I'm a registered libertarian, but I voted for President Trump because he's the more appropriate leader for the job.
yeah.
And I believe in a small government. And does that mean I lose my job? Well, I'm retiring, so I'm good. But but for like federal employees out there, like just I think it's really important that people take note of, do you want a paycheck, do you want a job, or do you want a career? Like there's three different things there. Like you can get a paycheck, you can get a handout, right? But the job, you got to work, and then career is like that's the next level up. Or and then a mission, right? Then you have your
Yeah.
mission. That's where me and my wife we want to go to, is we want to work on our mission. We don't want a paycheck. We want a job. We don't want a career. We want to focus on our mission. And with what I think with President Trump, he's putting people that are wanting to work their 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 missions and the mission that people are being placed in leadership roles directly align are in alignment. And I think that's what a great leader does. He puts the right people in the right places to get the job done. So
I do like what I saw, and I don't know all the details, but I do like when I read yesterday that he is reinstating former military that were, I don't
from the
know,
COVID, yeah, from the
for the
COVID, yeah,
COVID. Yeah,
yep,
no matter how you look at it, no matter what lens you look at with that at face value, just makes sense. Like, okay, this is a good thing.
yeah,
It's not. It can't. There's. I don't think on any level could that be a bad thing. So it's a good thing. I don't care if Harris did it or Trump did it. For anybody to say, you know what, we're going to bring back the military that were released because of they decided not to follow the vaccine mandate. That's a good thing to bring them back, and they're military personnel, and they're essential. Like, it'd be
for
one thing
sure,
to say we'll bring back all the woke teachers that were fired because for their woke policies, but no, it's like this is military, you know.
yeah,
So
sure. I totally agree. Yeah, that's cool that they're doing that. Definitely cool.
here's a question I got for you. So you said accountability. Why do you think that? Let's talk about our leadership in this country. Why do you think some of them are not willing to be accountable?
Ooh, well, to partly because of that what you had mentioned earlier, the evil stuff that
Yeah.
we know is going on. I'm not saying they themselves, the leaders, are doing it, but the people they associate with, like are evil. They're doing things they shouldn't be doing. Um,
Yeah.
there's that corruption aspect, right? So follow the dollars. Where are the dollars going? What shell companies manage those dollars? That kind of stuff. I believe when people start doing the audits and you have the analysts like literally looking line by line, why did we spend millions of dollars on condoms in a foreign nation? Why are we in a foreign nation sending condoms? Like, was it preventing HIV? Like, what was the specific purpose? And when no one, we're all staring at each other like, then like, who initiated that, right?
Yeah.
Somebody has to be held accountable. So I think the word accountability is people don't like the fact that not only is there rewards for being in leadership, but there's also going to be consequences for being in leadership. And people are not used to getting fired like they were in the past. Like, you know, like I go back to Trump with his old
You're
show.
fired.
Fired,
You're
like
fired.
you need that. You need somebody to make those hard decisions, and you're not going to be liked. Like that's the role of a leader. You're not going to have. Not everyone's going to be your friend. Like you don't want friends. Like you want somebody to tell you like you're wrong, but do it respectfully. Have a little bit of disagreement, but at the same time, like you're still held accountable for the decisions you make, good and bad.
The reason why I asked you that question was because I like Joe Rogan and what he's done for the industry in terms of people that do this discussion long form. What I don't like is that he's always danced around the subject of, like, I don't know why. There's a reason why, maybe they're not willing to. I'll tell you what it is. It's like they're evil people. They don't want to be exposed. The accountability is one thing, because the question came up the other day where somebody asked Joe Rogan, "Do you think that Kamala Harris would have been able to do this? 3 hour discussion?" And he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I could." And then the other guy gave pushback and said, "Well, I don't think she would last more than an hour." And I kind of believe that only if she's willing to be accountable and expose what is really behind everything. Like the fact that you and I can just sit here and just talk. Like, I'm not afraid of sharing anything with you. You ask me a question, I'll answer. If I feel like I can't because I want to protect somebody else, I'll say, hey, you know what? I probably shouldn't say that because they're not here in the room to defend themselves. But other than that, like, it's all open. I don't know if, like, for example, Kamala Harris could do that because there's a lot of things that she's covering up for that she cannot say publicly. And to be put in an environment where she has to expose, and if she does it, it's going to appear deceptive. I feel like people that are not accountable, they have that little piece in them where, because like I firmly believe, like, I think Kamala Harris, after this election, she's done. Like, she can't get out of it. She is in under contract until she dies to serve
The machine.
whoever the machine, whoever paid that $1 billion. She's in debt to that machine. I don't think she owes 20 million. I think she owes her life. So unfortunately, I feel bad for that. You look at Biden. We're finding out now that there are people coming forward and saying, yeah, we knew he wasn't exactly coherent or coherent enough to remember, or he actually believed what he said, this or that, and it didn't line up. And I feel like moving forward, I think our government, if this is true, what's going to happen? They're going to start to clean up things. He said that people aren't used to getting fired. Well, I think they're going to get used to it now because
Yeah. So it's really if you think about it, right? If you think about what happened 4 years, there was a lot that didn't happen, and I will say like there was a lot that didn't happen. There was somebody making decisions that wasn't the person in charge,
yeah,
which really makes you wonder, like, whoa. Just wrap your head around the fact that there was a commander in chief who wasn't in charge.
that's scary.
It's
That's
very
scary.
scary. And then
Like,
there's
because you don't know who it is.
you don't know who it is, and then you had a vice president that didn't know that there was troops overseas supporting.
Yeah.
That is those kinds of things, it makes you wonder. It's like, what kind of twilight zone are we living in? Um, when not only is the information available, but it's just like, I wouldn't even call it common. Like the general public even knows this. So, well, not the whole general public, but enough people know. And if you're in a leadership position and you don't know what resources you have overseas or what assets you have overseas, and you have executive power, it's a scary, scary thing. Like, and no one, we're all watching. Like, someone gonna make a decision? Like, we're all staring at each other, like looking at this. That's kind of crazy. It's kind of scary. It's like really scary. So then it makes you wonder, like, who had the power? I don't know.
John Maxwell, John Maxwell, the
Yeah,
business guy,
yeah,
he has a great philosophy where he says, "Fire quickly, but hire slowly." And what a great, what a great principle. It's like if you have that principle of hiring slowly, but you fire. It's a classic example. If somebody keeps stealing from the company, like don't sit there and wait till they steal $1 million. Fire them when they've already stolen 100,000.
yep.
It's like so. I am excited to see what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna mean for us on a personal level, but just as far as our nation, and I am curious because I'm gonna do a podcast with a Canadian in a couple of weeks. I want to ask this person, hey, so what? Did you guys get affected by our elections? Because I think sometimes as Americans we all think like we're the
Well,
center of the universe, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good. Yeah, I'll definitely tune into that. Definitely want to know how the world thinks, or how the world will be affected, because we'll be in an age of prosperity, or is there going to be a lot of volatility and turmoil for the first couple of years and then prosperity later? Who knows? Like, I hope, definitely want prosperity, but at the same time, I actually don't want too much prosperity, because that also drives inflation up, and that we don't want that. We don't want inflation. Like, as a business owner, you kind of want inflation, but not as a consumer. You don't want inflation as a consumer.
I think the first year might be hard, and I think maybe the first 2 years because anything great it comes at a price, right?
Yep.
But I have a feeling they're gonna throw some. What's the word? They're gonna throw some tokens out there to where people don't lose heart or get discouraged if they don't see results. I think the most common way of throwing gold nuggets is by blessing people at tax time. Giving them whatever
Incentives, yeah.
incentives. Or I've always wished that they would, instead of giving stipends or what the stimuluses, but if you're going to give a stimulus, have a like a, what do you call it, stipulation, right?
Yeah.
Invest it or buy this or buy something that's long term, right? Like if they give $1,000, hey, half of that, if you get 1,000, half has to go into something that yields some kind of interest, right? And you can't touch it for whatever, a year or whatever. I think that would be a great idea. Rather than just throwing, because you throw $1,000 in somebody's bank account on top of their tax returns, they're just going to spend it on alcohol, beer, partying, or a trip, right? So
Yeah, it's a challenge too, because the 2008, 2000 to 2010, they had that housing stimulus. Do you remember that? Where
yeah,
first-time home buyers were able to get like $8,000 or $10,000. We took advantage of that, and it was like 8,000. First-time home buyers to not have. Yeah, it was a grant. It was conditional upon a grant, but you had to be a first-time home buyer. You had to live in the house. Um, and yeah, it gave people money during tax time to get back. So that was pretty cool. But then, you wonder if that makes the home values go up, because to offset the cost. I don't know.
so how did the grant work? Like, was it separate from the loan process? Was it something you had?
I think, yeah, what I remember, don't quote me on this, but I got money back during taxes.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I think it was 7,000 when I did it in 2008, somewhere around there. Um, and because I was military, ended up moving out of that house. And I remember like for a couple of years, there was a glitch in my taxes because like, oh, are you still living there? And I'd answer no. Like, oh, but now you got to pay back the money. Like, oh, and then there's a clause for military. If you had to move, if you lived out, if you no longer lived in it because of orders, because you got orders of PCS, then to change duty locations, then you waived it. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, no, I'm excited for what the future holds, and definitely excited for our Secretary of Defense. I think that Pete is freaking awesome.
He's
Super amazing.
savage.
Yeah.
He I don't know. He's a tough guy. He's got a lot of kids too.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah, he's
yeah.
got a lot of kids. And I'm not trying to make for anybody that doesn't have kids, but I really trust leadership that has children, whether it's adopted or your own, because you have something that, for me, the way I look at it, you have a strong generational mindset when you have kids, versus someone that doesn't. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree. I think yeah,
Yeah.
because you have a legacy. Like you're gonna have your kids remember you, then you have an example to set. Like
Hmm.
you have to you have to set a good example, and it goes back to the first point you made about President Trump and his family. Like you look at they're going, and he's not, they're not perfect. There's a lot of issues, but not a lot of issues, but there are some issues that came up, and you look at collectively as a whole, like no one's perfect. Everyone has flaws, but look at what has been accomplished. Like that's if you look at all, weigh the good and the bad. Um, there's a lot more good than there is bad versus getting pardons.
Yeah. I don't know how
Sorry, sorry, my bad. I had to throw that out there. Sorry.
that made me stutter a little bit. What the heck? Yeah, you're right. There are so many. Oh my gosh. Here's a question: did he actually give the pardons? You think, or did somebody say, "Hey, give
I
the
don't know.
pardons"? He's like, oh, "Yeah, we should do it." I don't know.
Uh,
Maybe Joe. Maybe Joe's like, "Joe,
Joe knows. Yeah,
yeah, yeah."
yeah,
I will say that I think it was the last executive order he signed on day one. I think it was the last order where basically that we can't weaponize, to attack another opponent. That was one of the and I did appreciate that because that basically said no matter what you guys did before I got into office, I'm signing this executive order where I cannot use the court system or military to weaponize against our own, basically against ourselves.
yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see how that pans out. Can we go back to you and Corey? So yeah, because here's a legit feel. I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do. Because everything's on Twitter now, right? We all know
Yeah,
what's happening. We know what's gonna.
yeah.
um. Okay, if you guys don't do the farm, maybe you do chickens. Maybe you do the gym. Maybe you don't do the gym. There's so many possibilities. You can do co-op gym. You can do partnership, which is probably something most people don't like. But so if you guys had a travel schedule, you would have to have a business that can support you where you can travel, right? So would you guys open a business like international as well? Do you think that's something you guys would do, or just
Like
enjoy life?
so, yeah. We if we were to do the gym, which we keep going back to a lot because we like working out, we want our own place to work out. We don't like to follow the people's rules, and we want to build our own community within the gym and have our own atmosphere.
Yeah.
So, at some point, we want to like mentor employees and managers to take that over and then replicate that. Maybe if it's successful, then replicate that experience somewhere else. So possibly like it would be building out the SOPs and then building out the whole process. So all lessons learned, because we are really big on feedback, like constantly doing customer engagement. Like, hey, how did you feel about this experience? Was it good? Were the coaches good? Like, what do we need to work on? because in the military we do that all the time, like after
Yeah.
action reviews, like what's working, what's not working, what can we trim, what can we add, and just provide the best experience. And that's kind of something we'd want to do, because we see gyms that do a good job, but they can be better. But we're not we don't own that gym. We're just we see what that we've experienced in the past. So like how can you tell you have a good gym? Go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Are
yeah,
you like are you itchy when you get home? That's probably a
yeah,
bad gym.
yeah,
That's probably a bad gym if you're itchy. Like, what the heck is this
yeah.
itch?
So it's something we had thought about. But yeah, we're excited because depending on how things go, we could know have a that would actually like be ideal, is to have a business that is that we kind of call not a home, but look forward to going to. That's I mean, look what you're doing. You look forward to you're passionate about what you do. That's awesome. The message that you portray out there, and so everyone knows G has that passion. Like that's the vibe that we're trying to go for, is share the passion with other people.
I can see a gym with free weights, um, a section with to climb a rock, like rock climbing, and then I can see a little octagon as
Yeah,
well. Yeah,
yeah.
and
Some
then of
mat
course,
space. Yeah,
and then you got some mat space, and all you need is a warehouse, right? Just maybe 20,000. I don't know. I'm not good with the map, but maybe 20,000 square feet. If you're lucky, you can find it at $2 a square foot. Maybe I don't know. It depends on what city, but so even at yeah, well, that's a lot of money. So maybe 10,000 square feet. So about 10 grand a month to rent out a space. Yeah, it's a lot of bread. A lot of bread.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, if it's your own building, then since you guys have experience in building your own properties, so you can build your own warehouse for a lot better. Or you could do the Rock. You seen his gym?
No, oh, the Iron Paradise, is that?
Yeah, the one he takes with him.
Yeah,
That's retardedly insane. That's crazy. He brought it
yeah,
to Hawaii. I didn't actually go inside, but I seen it. Um, so I met him in no 2019 20 I met him in 2019. He did a so I used to work for Paul Mitchell in Hawaii, and it wasn't a glamorous job. I just did maintenance and I did woodworking, sanding, refinishing. But I was able to take an early retirement from that. I was blessed. But the Rock came. They were doing a film shoot for Time magazine, I think, and a photo shoot. And bro, he has these bodyguards down that are so huge, like they're massive. Like they get out of the SUV and then they can't even walk straight because they're just so flexed out, and I think that's what it's for. And I'm sure they're trained. I'm sure they're highly trained, but they're like huge. And then here comes the Rock. He gets out of the SUV. He's bigger than his bodyguards. Like he's massive. He obviously he's it's not natural. There's no way that's natural. I know because but he's still big without any
yeah, yeah,
perform. But
yeah,
I think when he's getting ready to do a certain role, sometimes he's just like almost like superhero like. But anyways, yeah. So he brought his gym and like I think Matza containers is what they used or something, and they unload all that stuff. I'm like, dude, this is all weights, just all like I don't know how much it
yeah.
costs.
So there's a company out there that we looked into. We had thought about doing mobile B2B, like health and wellness stuff. And there's a company called Beaver Fit USA, and they have a trailer, a travel trailer that unloads into a mobile gym, like a functional fitness, CrossFit type gym. And we had thought about doing that too. That's one of the things we're kind of sort of serious about. We looked into it, but the startup cost is it's like 20 to 40,000 for the mid-sized trailer. Yeah, Beaver Fit USA,
That's
and
not bad. 20. I mean, to start up something. Now, does that include like maintenance?
No, that's just for the, well, I think there's a limited warranty on it. And it has the majority, the higher end has all of the different weights, and then you probably still need to get a couple rowers or bikes to add in there. But yeah, we had thought about doing that, like um, doing a whole B2B contracting and just like scouring the contracts or making ourselves aware. And that's where like having time when we retire, like that's going to be a massive asset. Just being able to talk to other people, talk to other organizations or companies to see what is it that they need out there. Do they even want it,
Yeah.
or are people trimming down their extra stuff? Because fitness is considered a luxury to a lot of people, a lot of corporations, where it's not a requirement, right?
Yeah.
So if things start downturning, one of the first things to go is fitness and economic downturn. So something we have to kind of consider. So how do we start a lean company? I don't know. We don't know exactly, but we might figure it out.
So for that investment, would it be like ownership of everything that's in that, or would it be like a lease where okay,
Yeah, yeah, it'd be ownership, everything in there. And then we'd have to get a vehicle to tow it with, because right now we have two small vehicles, but it's just all part of the business plan. But yeah, we had started, and that's what we did our Boots to Business program with, was kind of like doing a hypothetical, if we had a business doing B2B health and wellness for companies, and then investing in that. Um, but yeah, it's everything looks cool on paper and spreadsheets, right? But when it comes time to you get,
when you check all the numbers, you're like, oh. And you try to do just for fun, do a projection, right? Okay,
yep,
wait a minute, wait, so how many people I gotta have to make this? It's like, oh man. One of the things I love doing public speaking. Like, I haven't done a lot recently, but like just doing public speaking events. And one of the things I haven't planned it yet, but I do want to do something this year where I do a couple of workshops and just in the area of teaching people a certain thing. I don't even know what yet, honestly. Like, there's so many things I love to do, but I think public speaking will be one. Workshops in social media, not tied specifically just to one single platform, but as a broad sense. But I think offering people a workshop where they can attend, I think that'll be a good thing. And they'll pay. It wouldn't be a high dollar amount because you want more people to show up, and you don't want people to show up for free because they won't value it, right? They're not going to steward the time well if it's free. So I think even like if you guys do workshops, that would be pretty cool. Or like
yeah,
what do they call those things? Where like
fitness in the park,
expos
expos,
of,
yeah.
of, of fitness in the park. Yeah, that would be cool.
No, absolutely, yeah. That's definitely things we had thought about. Yeah, if you host one of the, have you done webinars?
I've done a few.
Okay.
Because of our reason being in Oregon was to help take care of my brother. He got sick, so that's why. Like, believe me, Oregon was not on my hit list at all. But because my brother moved here, he got sick. That's why we're here. But I do this year want to do in-person conferences or workshops where people pay to come and they learn. Could be broad. I've already reached out to a few people where we can do like a joint thing, and it's not so much about the money because I mean you'll make money, I'm sure, but it's about just getting out there and teaching people and giving them something of value, right? Um, like I even see with you guys, there's a lot of things I can see you guys do where people would show up or even do like a even webinar too, right? Get them a short 1 hour of this, and if they want to take it to the next level, guess what? I'll be in LA in July, so if you guys want to attend, sign up here.
So the funny thing about that, that's what I do in the military is I set up training events. And it's funny because we have like our agenda, our topics, and we have our instructors. They go through their the rehearsals and whatnot, and the the information we're giving is specific to our industry, our service, right? But then when you look at that's in the military because we're training up our replacements and whatnot. But you look at like in the civilian world, like that's a big deal, right? If you're gonna get people that want to learn how to deliver a spaces meet or a spaces event or whatever you're going to teach them, and you're providing them a service. That's like to me, that's a fun thing to do because you're already excited about doing it, and then you just got to find the venue, um, go over your training materials, and yeah, I think you guys are gonna do awesome with that. But now the reason I'm saying this is because Corey and I, we had talked about, it's like, um, we love, that's the stuff that we love doing, like setting up training events.
Yeah.
When you have people show up who don't know like much of it, and they leave like you see the light bulbs turn on, it's like, let's go, let's go, let's go. Or they get excited about what happened. Like it's a good feeling.
That would be cool if you guys do that. And actually, there are companies that like would support. You just let them know, hey, I'll be doing this, and they will support. I've done that before, where I've reached out to a few companies where it's actually now they're one of my sponsors is Archon Mounts, where we did our company, we did a product launch in LA and in San Francisco. But before we went, I actually went to the corporate office in Arcadia, California. It was, hey, this is what we're doing. Would you guys be willing to support through products, whatever? And yeah, they gave us a whole bunch of stuff. And so that kind of adds to the event, right? Where, by the way, you get a chance to win this product or this product. It could be a water bottle. It could be a year supply of, protein powder or whatever. It could be anything, right?
Yeah.
It could be anything. And there are companies that are willing to support in that, especially if that's what you guys are going to do. That'll be pretty cool, for sure. And then you get a mat and you say, hey, roll around with Dom for 2 minutes, see if you can make him submit.
Yeah. Post it on YouTube. Yeah, post it on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, no cell phones allowed. No cell phones allowed. Have you even done any sessions like that where you go up against other guys and you get like a time limit? You guys do those type of workouts?
Yeah. So we do sparring sessions
Okay.
frequently. Yeah, that's actually like what I look forward to the most. Like obviously the instruction portion is fun,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I like going against a bigger, me personally, like when I go up against a bigger opponent, and either I'm surviving or submitting, like it's a great experience. And then but there's also like an appreciation there, because like you realize that strength and speed has a factor, right? And then also like learning proper technique, like you can either defend yourself or you can actually win. So there are good takeaways there. That's the fun stuff.
There was this one gym. So my friend David, he was friends with I forget who the connection was, but there was a fighter. If anybody wants to fact check, you can look it up. So Marcelo Tiger, he was popular at one point in the MMA, but I think he's Brazilian, but he started a gym in Hawaii. So he had this actual ring. So I think a few weeks we would train there at his gym. He had a ring with the bell and everything, and we had so much fun with that. And we would spar, and I ended up getting paired up with this guy. They called him House, and he was a house. I'm not even. The guy was huge, and so it was full contact, but not don't follow through. Like you don't put your just kind of tap, right. And I was terrified because I think I was terrified because I didn't know if I didn't want to hurt the guy, but I also knew I couldn't because he was so big. But I still didn't know. But I did leg whips, so but I didn't follow through, or so it was kind of like a tap. I got him a couple times, and this guy's huge, dog. This guy's like 250 plus, and it was fun because you look at the clock and you can hear the buzzer, and then our coach is like 30 seconds, 20 seconds, and your adrenaline's pumping, and I go in for I just go in one time, and all of a sudden he grabs me and he just takes me down, and after that I just couldn't breathe. I'm like, I'm trying to look at the clock and see if I have enough time. I didn't have enough time. I had to go.
Yeah.
But that was fun, like to be able to do kind of not real life, but to
the full experience, pretty much.
Yeah. Because as a kid, I used to get into fights as a kid when a teenager too, but those are just wild, out of control. You fighting over stupid stuff. But to be able to do it in a controlled setting, that was pretty fun for
For
sure.
sure. No, absolutely. Yeah. We do MMA rounds, and which is like you said, just like we talked about. And I'm gassed. Like jujitsu rounds, I can hold. I'm good, even if it's somebody that's better than me, right? I'm still good. I'm not completely exhausted. But then when you're talking about doing MMA rounds, where it's all, now my breathing, I talked about breathing earlier. I don't know how to pace myself, right? Because even if we do shorter 3-minute rounds, it's like, oh man, there's now you're throwing punches and kicks and defending takedowns. It's like, oh, there's a lot going on. Versus in a jiu-jitsu match, you know what you're getting yourself into. Versus MMA stuff. I'm by no means an MMA expert. If my videos of MMA it's very amateur, but definitely have a respect for the sport and the combative side of it.
I'm not very good at sprawling. That's my weak link. I'm very bad at sprawling for sure. I think, well, this is a long time ago, so I think at the time was just I didn't practice enough, or maybe it could be fear. I had a lot of fear at that time in my life, like just I don't know what it was. Like there was one time where, and I'll throw this name out there, so he's probably not gonna watch it, but Kolo Koka, he had my ankle in a lock, and we're both looking at each other, and he's like, "You good?" I'm kind of like, "Okay, fine." He says turning. He goes, he's waiting for me to tap.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just looking at. He's like, he gave me this look like. So if anybody knows Kolo Koka, he's a very good MMA fighter in Hawaii, and he trained in our gym, and he would help train the guys. But he was turning. And I'm looking at him like he was looking at me like, "You gonna tap?" And I'm like, the pride comes in, and I feel, and then all of a sudden I hear a. I was like, oh, and and he knew too. He let go. He's like, and then he came, "Hey, you okay?" And yeah, I'm fine. But I was hobbling. I was
Yeah.
hobbling, and I was hobbling for a good week. And I put on a brace, and I just sucked it up. And sometimes your pride really
Yeah, I guess in a way.
not
Yeah.
healthy. It
Oh
was,
yeah.
but all that aside, though, I learned a lot in the. You talk about the running out of gas. I think like, man, you run out of gas because of the adrenaline,
Yeah.
right? It just makes you like not breathe right. It's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. One of the guys was asking about it. I've competed like 5 to 7 times in jiu-jitsu in California, and the yeah, it's everything you're doing everything you know, but the intensity is just so high. Like
mhm.
you want to win, right? And you're focused, like uber focused on not losing or getting the submission or whatever the case is. But yeah, you're right. That adrenaline is a whole nother that's a whole nother layer, especially when you have like it's a competition, so there's people watching, right? And then or your
Yeah,
friends are watching, like you're representing your gym. You don't want to lose because
yeah, and they're yelling at, "Come on, Dom!
yeah,
Come on, Dom!
yeah,
You got him! You got him! No, let him get the hooks! No, no,
yep.
don't let him get the hooks!"
You're ready for it. You got to go back into it. You're ready for it.
No, I saw. I still hear those voices sometimes. I say, "Come on, Greg! No, let him get the hooks in! No, 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 no!" The one that I used to be scared of when I could feel when I felt the feet creeping up,
Uh huh.
I already knew. Oh man, because sometimes you trying to the one defense I found that I always remember easily was just combing your hair. You ever heard that terminology,
Yeah.
comb your hair? That one but some other ones I would forget. I'm like, and then that's when I would like get, yeah, I'll be submitted or whatever. But the comb the hair was that was the easy one to remember. Comb the hair.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a good cue.
I do enjoy a good triangle when I figure out how to when I get it in. It's like, oh yeah, this is fun.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did a triangle one time, and a guy picked me up, and I'm like, I look at, please don't drop,
Yeah.
please don't drop me. He put me down gently. It's okay, thanks.
So how many? You said it was about 20 years ago. How many years total did you train for?
it wasn't even that long. Probably maybe not even 3 years actually. I mean, it was fun.
Yeah.
The whole reason me doing it was we all worked together. We worked security, and my friend Dave was at the time he was fighting professionally. He would fight in California and reservations because at the time they were real strict,
Yeah.
on venues. So he would take any fight he could get, and he would tell us, "Oh yeah, they'll pay me 2,000 to show up, and then 2,000 if I win." So of course we all like, "Wow, that's a lot of money." We're thinking, "Hey, teach us how, Dave. Teach us how."
Yeah.
So we would go to his. He had a gym at his house, and he was a good teacher. His background is martial arts. He played professional football for a little bit, of course, law enforcement, and that was fun because the thing I didn't like was it's silly, but I didn't like when people didn't have gear and like no shirt. I don't like that. I'm a germaphobe, so bro, put on a shirt, brother. Like I also don't like when guys don't wear cups. Like if you don't wear a cup, brother, go home, go get your cup. I cannot stand that because you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
When brother man's in your face, oh whoa, bro, go! What the heck, bro? What the? I don't want to look at that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh man, there's a bunch of memes out there when when you train jujitsu, everything all of a sudden becomes gay because
Yeah,
yeah.
I know it sounds silly, but those are some of these like, bro, cup, shirt. Um, I didn't like cleaning the mats. I hated that drill. I think Dave did on purpose. He make us clean the mats as part of our drills. And you basically get your hands and you just you wipe it, but you're on your feet. And so you're kind of like a crab walk, kind of sort of not
Oh
crab walk,
yeah.
but you just clean them and the mats. Bro, this mats is huge, bro. We're just on our hands and on our hands and our feet. You kind of go on your knees. It was a silly
Bro.
drill. So
Yeah.
I'm calling you out now, David. But yeah, we clean the mats. It's back and forth. Yeah. Are you gonna train today, or you? What time is it over there?
Yeah. It's almost 6. Yeah. I'll probably train for a little bit today, a little bit tonight.
What do they call those? I believe the exercise was to help with our balance and equilibrium. So there's this one drill we used to do where you're on the mat and you just basically tumble forward.
Oh,
We would
like
do it
forward rolls? Yeah.
forward rolls. Yeah,
Forward rolls. Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very yeah. So we practice that, and even in the army practice that too, because you never know when someone's gonna push you from behind.
Right.
How are you gonna properly fall? Yeah.
I heard you say faith earlier, and I'm gonna connect it out with the. So in our when I trained with David, there was a gym that we used to train with called Jesus is Lord Gym, and out of this gym, I'm not sure if you a beard, what the heck, you ever heard of the Kamaka family in UFC?
No.
So there's a family called the Kamakas. They came out of the gyms that I train with, and this is actually I think this is their grandkids now. But anyways, we should train at a gym called Jesus is Lord. And I remember my first time training there. We'd all be on a mat, just doing drills. And then there's a side room with a glass window. I could hear there's a bunch of ladies just shouting. I'm tripping out. I'm like, what's going on over here? So I look inside, and it's all the wives, all the spouses. They're praying while their husbands are on the mats. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I've never seen that before where the spouses are actively involved. And part of the reason why they're praying is that this is a Christian group, but part of their mission was that they would go to Japan. Shuto, you ever heard of Shuto?
Yeah, shoot out. Yep.
So they would do Shuto competitions, or whatever it's called. And it wasn't just about winning tournaments, but it was about investing time into the culture and then witnessing to them. So they would actually bring Bibles and
Wow.
T-shirts. Yeah, it was powerful.
Wow.
But um, there's a guy named Ray Cooper. That's his legacy. Ray Cooper was the guy. I'll send you some links. You can watch it.
Yeah, yeah. Jesus is Lord Gym. Okay.
Yeah,
I want to look into it because high school I went to a Lord's Gym. It was out in Sacramento. They had a gym. It was like $5 a month. Back then, that was nothing. That was like super cheap, and everything was awesome. You just had to. I don't think there was any stipulations, honestly. And I remember my buddy's like, "Oh, you want to come out to this gym?" I was like, "Sure," but it was a kind of a drive for me, so that's why I didn't go to it too often. But yeah, you couldn't beat $5 a month for a gym membership. But it was just your typical like bodybuilding gym. But this sounds cool. Like,
The guy Ray Cooper, he was a different type of fighter. Just he had heavy hands. Like wow, his hands was heavy. Not big guy. I think he was like 5'8". I think he fought at like one. I want to say 155. Maybe I can't remember. He wasn't that big, but he had heavy hands. But I went to one of his fights where it was Hawaii versus Japan, and he knocked this guy out. Like just boom, knocked him out, and he knocked him out. And I've never seen this before in MMA ever, and I don't know if it's ever been done before. I think maybe Mike Tyson. Actually, I take it back. I've seen Mike Tyson embrace people, but Ray Cooper, he knocked the guy was like he was gone. He starts to fall back, and Ray Cooper runs up, grabs him,
oh,
and keeps him from hitting the mat. Puts him down, and then of course everybody's erupting into the ring, and I saw them. Okay, this is what they're about, right? They're about creating cultivating good fighters, but also doing it in a way where it's you're not
honor.
gonna honor. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah, I thought that was cool. I've never seen that. Usually, everybody, you're not the guy. You're celebrating. You're running around the ring, and then. But I saw Ray Cooper grab the guy. He cradled him, and just well, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, it reminds me of yeah, like a little bit of what's his name? Not Islam. Islam's Khabib. A little bit of Khabib, not with Conor McGregor, but
Yeah, not with Conor McGregor.
yeah, not with Conor McGregor, but everyone else. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, he did do. There was a fight with Tyson where he knocked the guy out so bad he went to go check up on the guy. He didn't keep him from falling, but he embraced him after to
Yeah.
make sure he's okay. Yeah. Well, I will say before we get out of here, what is your I want to talk about X for a second because you exploded. Yeah, how long have you been on X?
Uh,
Not that long, right?
about almost a year. Yeah, coming up on a year.
And I got to ask you this question because I always ask people because for some reason X has its own ecosystem of people and enthusiasm levels. What did you do before X? What social platforms?
I was on Instagram, and that was
Mm.
it. And Facebook, but uh, the reason I like X so much is like you said, the ecosystems, and you find other like-minded people. And it doesn't even have to be like fitness. It can be faith or mentorship or finance. Like I have people that I follow that are all kinds of different wide spectrums and stuff. Believers, non-believers. So do I want everyone to be a believer? Absolutely, but that's free will. It's their choice.
Hmm.
Maybe positively influence them. Um, but yeah, like I think it's just been a wild ride. So here you get to kind of like you get to engage with people that um, resonate with you, and then also people that disagree with you. I think it's good to have disagreements because you don't always know everything. Like you get to learn some stuff. You get to like get your eyes, like you mentioned, red pill moment. Like
Yeah.
maybe I need to learn about um, whatever. I don't know, skincare. I don't know, but whatever it is, learn about something new.
Well, in the area of faith, and we didn't talk about this, but so what faith are you subscribed to? Christianity?
Yeah,
Okay. It's hard to get away from that when you're in the East Coast on that side. And that's the Bible Belt, right?
it
South
is.
Carolina.
But what's funny is it is, but credit my wife. She got me closer to God. So I used to read the Bible back in the day. I grew up Catholic, and being Filipino, Catholic is just kind of like
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I I don't want to say lost my faith, but went away from it for most of my military career, and then my wife kind of brought me back into it. So definitely appreciate what she did there, and yeah, learning Christianity, not Christianity, but learning about the Bible. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even say that. I guess I say I'm Christian, but reading the Bible and being around other people that believe in the Bible too is really important, and willing to question the Bible. I think there's a lot of people like, oh, let me just let me read everything and not question anything. I think that's why there's Bible study, to
Yeah.
question like
Yeah.
what does this mean? Like help me explain and understand this, because I don't understand it. I need some mentorship and help and understanding what the word means and what it's supposed to mean. So, and then Liberty University does a really good job
Oh yeah.
of making that happen. Like,
Actually, one of my certifications is from Liberty. I have in counseling. So one of my counseling I did a 2019. I did a course to get, because one of the things I did in 2019, we opened a drug rehab. So one of my things was counseling. So I had to make sure I have some credentials. So
yeah,
thank God for Liberty University. They're really good, and it was of course all done remotely. So
yeah,
do you think it's hard to be a quote unquote Christian and be in the military?
yes, yeah, they definitely, especially in your younger years, there's all kinds of temptation,
Yeah.
and it's easy to fall to the sin, like way too easy. I know I did. Yeah, so it's easy, and even though there's like there's chaplains out there, there's religious services and whatnot. Um, if you're not grounded in faith before joining the military, it's kind of hard while you're in the military, because you depending on what your job is, you have a duty to perform 7 days a week. Or if you're deployed, the only time you see a chaplain is like when bad things happen. So yeah, I think it's definitely hard in the military. So the guys that there are a lot of good leaders out there, or even guys who aren't leaders but that are Christians. They actually get made fun of. Like, yeah, I'll never forget. I used to make fun of Christians, kind of like the Pharisees did, right? Calling them
Yeah.
names and not being good. I'm not proud of that, but um, yeah, it's something that really happens. A lot of people don't probably talk about it, but um, being the goody two shoes was not cool back in the day.
Yeah.
Right now, you get
Yeah.
older, being a goody two shoes is like it's good. It's good.
I will say that I think in military or not military, one of the biggest struggles of being a believer, quote unquote Christian, is when he's not in the room. I think a lot of times as believers, this is one of the things with our leadership that if we have any type of Bible study or is to never take God out of the room. Don't ever speak as if he's not in the room. To
Yeah,
always look at him like as if he's there. Because the minute we take him out of the room, of course, everything comes with that.
that's a
That's
really good point. Yeah, that's a good
if,
one.
it's so tough to be a believer if God's not in the room. But the lust of the flesh, you can't have God in the room if you want to have lust of the flesh. So if God's in the room, you can't partake in your lustful activities. So let
Yep.
me go put God on the shelf for a minute while I go
Yep.
satisfy myself in my lustful desires or whatever. It could be, don't have to be lustful, but and I think that's where the struggle lies, right? When he's not in a room, because if he's not in a room with you, man, we just fall prey to all kinds of stuff, right? And I think one of the reason why I asked that question is I think you talked about Bible study. You know who Wesley Huff is? I'm guessing.
Not it doesn't ring a
Um,
bell too much.
Great conversation with him and Billy Carson. Billy Carson was basically the like anti-Christian. You got Wesley, who's a Christian. Great pocket. I'll share the link with you. But one of the powerful things they talked about was understanding text as it was written, when it was written, and what it was for. And I think that helps a lot of people that are believers or non-believers to understand, okay, this is how the Bible was written. This is what it was for, the context, you know. I want to acknowledge a comment. We got Doc in here. He says, I'll put it up, as a non-Christian, thanks for the comment. Appreciate you, Doc. As a non-Christian, I see people making fun of Christians. It has been vogue for at least a couple of decades. That's a good point. A couple of decades. It's coming from a scriptural standpoint. It's something that it's been prophesied for thousands of years, where the body of Christ would be mocked. It doesn't affect me. It is interesting though that there are certain groups of people that you cannot make fun of, right? But when it comes to Christians, it's fine. And I think I believe Jewish people are the only ones that get a specific category. Like if you don't like Jewish people, they have you consider that anti-Semite, which is I find that interesting. Christians, it's fine. Make fun of them, whatever. I do see that there's a revival coming, but before the revival comes, I believe there has to be a reformation of how we read the Bible, how we understand it. But the most important part, I think, Dom, is the relationship, right? If there's no relationship with an almighty God who loves us, who gave his son to die for us, gave us access to the Holy Spirit to walk us through these tough chapters, without that legitimate relationship, then it's all religion, right? It's just all a bunch of religious practices. But there has to be a relationship, a legit relationship. I believe that. And that to me is exciting when I see people like, you know who Russell Brand is?
Yes, yeah.
He's been open about his relationship with, he says Jesus. A lot of people believe in God on platforms. Everybody says God. But I always check to see, are you capitalizing the G or is it a small G?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I think Jesus is probably the deciding factor for a lot of people. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, my buddy Jason, he goes by God_J Willie. Him and I are slowly working on Doc, trying to get him to convert.
Yeah.
And Russ, they're out there listening, and little do they know that they're going to become Christians here shortly.
Here's what I'll say, since you threw his name out there. I will say to you, Dom, and to Doc, here's what I know. This is scriptural. Like it is God who affects and changes the hearts, right? It is us that we throw out the seeds, and we could be, some of us are the farmers where we cultivate the soil. Some of us are the ones that maintain after they've been quote unquote converted, but it's God that changes the hearts, right? And I will say my desire is not so much for people to change. I'm trying to word this in the best way, but not so much that they change everything about themselves, but it's more so that they come to the realization that there's a God out there that loves them and is so desired to have a relationship with them. All the other stuff comes, right? All the other stuff, it comes with that. But you ever see that clip of because I don't know if you've seen the actual episode. I don't remember watching the full episode, but the last episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
No, it's been a while. It's been a long while.
That's a powerful clip of so Will Smith. In my opinion, that was the best acting I've ever seen from him ever. And in that episode, this is the final episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. His biological dad comes back into his life. It's a classic story of biological dad comes to his life and says, "Hey, I'll be here for you." It doesn't show up, disappoints the son again, right? So,
oh yeah.
Did you ever see that episode?
Now it's coming together, yeah. And his dad is his uncle.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Now I remember, yeah.
Whew, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah, it's good. Yep.
The powerful thing about that was Will Smith, through that heated exchange, basically said, "To hell with him. He's not my dad, right? To hell with him." No, no, no. But then he said, "Why didn't he just want me?" And so powerful. Like, wow, a grown man being open, even in the acting, like, wow, I'm crying over here. Why didn't my dad just want me? Not love me or like me, but why did he just want me? And I think even as men, for people that are looking for purpose in life, when you know that you've got a God that wants you, that's some heavy stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. No, yeah, he's definitely he'll always be there for us, like always.
That's why I applaud you for moving to the great state of Kentucky, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, for
To be
sure.
to be there for your kids. That's legit. How many kids you got?
Two. My
Okay.
son's 18 and my daughter is 15.
Wow. Okay. Good mix.
Yeah.
Did they look like you or the mom?
The, both. My daughter sort of looks like me. Sort of looks like me. She has my eyes and nose. That's about it.
I tell my daughter, my youngest daughter, I said, "I'm so sorry, Zoe. I'm so sorry that you got my nose. I really am. But thank God you got everything else."
Yeah.
And then I tell my wife, I said, "Honey, I'm so sorry that Zoe got my stubbornness." I said, but I tell my wife, you know what? Our kids, they constantly argue with us, but it's because they're not quitters. Our
There
kids
you go.
fight.
There you go. There you
So
go.
my wife is like, no, 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 that's not. They're still defiant. I said, yeah, but they're winners. That's the point. They're always winners. They're always gonna win.
Full of grit. There it is.
Yeah. I'll tell you this one story. My daughter, my youngest daughter, she was two and a half, three, yeah, three. No, she's three. Strong will. And I can tell the story now because she's 16. But man, I was spanking her because she was being defiant and she was being really like really naughty, like oh my god, super naughty. So my wife had given up on trying to correct her, so I told my daughter get in the room, close the door, and I'm delivering what was given to me from my dad, and I think I turned out okay. However, in 2025, I would probably be in a lot of trouble for the way I corrected my daughter. But we were in that room down for 2 hours, me trying to correct my daughter. And she was just throwing tantrums, just throwing stuff all over the room. She's doing you ever had your kids do a hard flex?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Rigid.
yeah. And I was like, no, you're not. And I'm like, no, you're going to listen to me. Right. And 2 hours. My wife knocks on the door. She goes, honey, can you come outside for a second? I said, no, I'm not done. She goes, can you come out for a second? I was so heated. 2 hours. I'm not even exaggerating. She softened me a little bit. Just leave her alone. She'll be fine. Close the door. She's still screaming now. In about 5 minutes, she's done. She's done screaming. So, but she comes out. My wife goes, "Are you done?" She goes, "Yes." Okay, go clean your room. Whatever is broken, throw it in the trash. I was with this girl for 2 hours. I couldn't get her to calm down. My wife says, "Nah, leave her alone. She'll be fine." 5 minutes later, she's done. That's how I know my kids are not quit. They don't quit. So, but it was such a learning curve as a father.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been a challenge. But yeah. So I'm happy and grateful. So they're healthy. They're doing good. And my son's stubborn, so he's learning things the hard way, like any man so-called man does, because he's all of 18 and thinks he's a he like he had said earlier has all the answers, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Invincible. So watching that play out, I wonder how much my parents had cringed watching me grow up in my early years. But yeah,
So is he going to college? What is he going to do?
yeah, he's going to college for he started off doing business for an associate's, and so right now he's also working at in the service industry as a waiter. But he's into fast cars, which,
Okay.
you know, adrenaline and young youth don't mix, but it is what it is. Hope he can be safe and not crazy.
I'm a firm believer that our kids will be okay as long as they know that mom and dad loves them
Yep.
and that they always got a place to come to if things ever go south.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the things I tell my kids all the time is, I tell them I'm gonna tell you right now, I am not the perfect dad, but I'm all the dad you've got, and I love you. And I tell them I'm gonna make some mistakes, so don't hold it against me if I make mistakes.
Yep.
But I always tell them,
Wake it up to the grandkids.
yeah, yeah, and I always tell my wife, I said, when we get grandkids, I'm gonna give them all chocolate and soda. I'm gonna just like pollute them with all this sugar, so my kids gotta do it. But that's a joke. But as long as our kids know that that the parents will be there, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the things, like, there's a different love languages or whatever, and mine
Yeah,
is like hugging my kids. Like I love hugging my kids and hugging my wife and my son. My son and my daughter. They're not into that because they're teenagers, and my son's an adult, and I force them. Like I don't care if you don't want the hug. I'm still getting mine. I'm showing you guys I love you guys.
so you're the physical touch guy.
Uh,
You know what's funny is that mine was words of affirmation. Um, and then when I had my youngest son, he's a touchy feely, and he's got sensory perception disorder. It's what they call it. I don't call it a disorder, but where he needs input, right? So
yeah.
because of him, now physical touch has kind of become mine. Like now I go to parties or if I go to family, like I feel weird if I don't give you a hug. It's a strange feeling because that was never my thing.
Yeah, no, it's funny too. It wasn't that way for me a lot before, and then until probably like the past decade has been like, yeah, I want to like family and good friends, like big hug, right? And grew up in I don't know, like growing up in my family, that wasn't really a thing. Especially like on my dad's side, it wasn't a thing. My mom's side a little bit, but now that I'm older, it's like I always want to give my kids hugs because you never know when they're gonna leave the nest and not
Exactly.
come back. Like they might not ever come back, but like you don't know when um, how long they're gonna be gone for. So
I will share this story for people that are, and I thank you for all the Twitter. I see you guys in there hiding in the shadows. But like my brother, when he had 7 strokes, two blood clots. That moment changed everything in our relationship to where I'm not a hugger, like, and he's not a hugger either. But when he left Hawaii in 2021, I never forget when I hugged him because we knew we were going to see each other. We didn't know when we were going to see each other because he was leaving, and we just started pastoring in Hawaii, so it's not like we could just take trips. And so we were planted, and he left. I never forget this though. We were never huggers, and we were never affectionate with each other. But I remember he grabbed me. He squeezed me like, and it was a fast hug. And I just remember telling him, hey, I just want to let you know I love you and I'm proud of you. And he goes, yeah, yeah. That's my brother. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that was our last hug, like, mutual hug. So because he's been in the hospital, I think there's been a few occasions where I would grab him and hug him, even though he can't move. And I will tell anybody that is not a hugger, get over it, brother. Hug everybody you can because you just never know when you are not able to give it or receive it. So. But I love giving hugs now. It's a very peculiar sensation, you know.
yeah. Oh yeah, for real, it is. And
Yeah,
Yeah, like yeah, it's a big deal. It's a good deal. It's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to do. And you never know when someone needs a hug. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's the church. Maybe it's from the church because in certain churches you see that.
Maybe for you guys in the lower 48. Funny we say lower 48, but like Hawaii, it's culture. It's all about culture. Like you always kiss everybody hello, you kiss them goodbye, and I don't mean lip kiss, but like cheek kiss, and you always hug. And that's just respect and honor. A lot of it is Polynesian Hawaiian culture where you have village type living. So then of course the Filipinos and the Chinese and they all adopt it because if you're from there, that's just. But the church kind of, I think some churches do foster that. Where it's funny though, here now that we're here in Oregon, it's like when you say hello, it's like, oh hi. Shake your, it's very weird for oh hi and shake your hand like they put the hand out to put defense like
Block
yeah
the
yeah
hug.
yeah don't hug me here take my hand. But some people I tell I'm sorry I gotta give you a hug, that's just what I do, and they're like oh okay. you know but yeah, for sure it's a culture thing. Well, is there anything you want to talk about, man? We're talking about anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, this has been a really great opportunity to get to know you. Like besides listening to your podcast, so I feel very honored to talk with you for all these topics. You know, fitness, jujitsu, politics, family, faith.
um For people that want to find you, where do they find you? Tell them where they can find you.
I am mostly on X, Dom_double_ Schroeder. I'm a little bit on Instagram. Don't really post too much there. X is where I like to engage with other cool people.
You guys hear that on YouTube, Twitch, Kicker, Rumble? If you want to be the cool kids, open an X account.
Definitely open an X account.
Just kidding, family.
No. Go to X. Definitely go to X.
Go to X. We can cover that topic at another time about the what is it? X has its own ecosystem, right? We'll talk about that at another podcast. Well, I want to say thank you, and let's do a rapid fire, and then we'll talk after as well. For anybody that's new, do me a favor if you not following Dom, if you're on X, I tagged him in there so you can follow him if you're not following him. And then reposting would be awesome, amazing. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, obviously rated the show. If you give me less than a 5-star, I will come and find you and I'll harass you. But 5-star, please. All right, here we go. These are carefully crafted questions. Rapid fire. Now, question number 1. Why did you do this podcast today?
To hang out with you.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. These are not trick questions. A lot of people, and I'll tell you again if you've heard this before, but people say, why do you always tell people why? Because it's not about me. I really want to hear. It's a psychological question. I want to hear what's multifaceted. My cousin Terry, Dr. Terry Lynn, she actually answered it really well. I'm not saying you did it, but she answered very well last week when I asked her. And she's the first one that answered it. Not that how I wanted it, but kind of what I was looking for. And she answered it. And I'll share that with you as well. You can watch it, but okay. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. Question number 2. This is a recycled question. If you don't know what it is, you have to pick one. Okay. Rocky Mountain oysters or fugu semen?
I don't know what the second one is, and I'll have to go with the first one.
Okay.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
For people that don't know, Rocky Mountain oysters is beef balls. Fugu is the puffer fish in Japan that people eat.
Which can poison one?
Yeah, it'll kill you.
Okay.
But my friend in Japan, he eats they have the semen sacks, they cook it and they eat it and they slice it up. It's pretty gross. I don't know why I asked that. Okay, question number 3. Elon needs volunteers to go to Mars. next week, Thursday. Are you going?
Yes.
Number 4. You and Corey wrestle. Who wins?
She is all show and no go. That's me. I love you, babe.
No logistic support, no teams, no intel, just a plane and a parachute. They tell you got to land in Iraq or Afghanistan. Where are you landing?
Iraq, a lot more flat space. I can land either.
Okay. Pick one guy between the two that you get to roll around the mat with for an hour. Hickson Gracie or Hoist Gracie?
Hickson Gracie. Watched a
Hickson.
lot of his videos, even the newer videos of him teaching stuff. And I've read his book on breath. That was a great book. So yeah, watched more of his videos as a kid or an adult. So definitely Hickson.
Number 7. How many more kids are you going to have?
That's very good. That's a loaded question. We're trying, but we're also thinking possibly of adopting.
Either one, do it. We've done both. So, yeah. Yeah, adopting is great. Our oldest daughter we adopted because we couldn't have kids. And anyways, that doctor is fired. The doctor that said we can't have kids, we had 3 more after we adopted. So, yeah.
Blessed.
Yeah, we were blessed.
Blessed.
Just kidding. The doctor's not fired. But he told us, he literally told us, you guys will never have kids. He literally said that. But he did say, he gave us a number, 99.9% chance that you guys will never have kids because mom had a surgery and all God needed was 0.1%.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Favorite boxer of all time?
Manny Pacquiao.
What? Nice. That's a good one.
He's a lefty. I'm not a lefty, but his speed and power, footwork, and he's just a good dude. Like he wants to support Filipino people. And he's fought some greats, a lot of the Mexican fighters, obviously Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, that era of fighting was just amazing. He's a little guy too. Yeah, there's a big heavyweights like everyone knows, but yeah, it's fun watching. You know, you're gonna see a good fight with Manny Pacquiao.
He's got, of all the knockouts or the punches that I've seen, that he's got power. I always look at his feet, and it's like, I don't know what it is. Like it's almost like when he punches people, his feet are like drilled into the ground. I always picture that because he's got some power for such a small frame. He's got some power. And he throws a lot of punches too.
Oh yeah.
Would you consider him a volume? You ever heard that terminology, volume puncher?
Volume striker. I don't know.
Probably not, right?
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm not really that big into boxing, but I know some basic stuff. But yeah, I don't know. Like
I probably wouldn't consider him that because I think he. I don't know. That's an interesting. It's an interesting weight class, first of all, and then the power he. Mike Tyson's a big fan of him, for sure. If Mike Tyson was that small, in that weight class, I'm sure that's maybe similar to how Tyson would. No, maybe not. I'm not an expert, so okay. Number 9. And here's a disclaimer for these questions. If you feel that it's not a good idea to answer, you can always say, okay, let's go to the next question. Okay, question number 9. If you could go back in the past at any given moment as an anonymous person, so whoever it is that you're going to visit, they don't know that it's you, But these people are going to be your kids. What would you say to your kids as an anonymous person at any given moment in the past? What would you tell them?
Ooh, I'm sorry I wasn't always around. Oh, wait, hold on. That's a good one. They don't, as an anonymous person. Ooh, your family loves you. As an anonymous person, yeah, as an anonymous person, your family loves you, and it'll be around 10 years ago. No, 7 years ago. Yeah.
I told my wife I would go back to 1998, and I told her I would go visit your dad because I've never met her dad, and I would tell him that everything's going to be okay. Your daughter's wedding is going to be beautiful, even though he can't be there. That's what I would tell him. I think I love this question because it makes me go back and like not to where I would change things, but be more of a reassurance to
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good question to ask somebody. Wow.
Question number 10. We are officially Pauhana, this is in Hawaii. Question number 10 is what is your desire for the next generation?
My desire for the next generation is to not seek out pleasure and to do hard things. To be willing to put in the work. Like I think that's like something that people chase comfort to the point of decay. So I hope more people, more of the next generation, seek out doing hard things.
That's a good quote. Don't chase comfort to the point of decay. I've never heard that, and I never heard those two words together: comfort and decay. That's an interesting take. Is that from your training materials, Dom? Or is that
I don't.
is that from deep within?
It's deep within. Like we did some breathing and it came out, bro.
Oh, what the heck? Did you go to another dimension? What the heck?
I blacked out.
Don't chase comfort to the point of decay. I'm going to say it one more time. Don't chase comfort to the point of decay. Wow. I'm going to quote you on that. I like it.
Appreciate that. This has been awesome. This has been a lot of fun. Get to hang out with you, hear your stories.
Listen, I'm gonna do Mike Tyson. Listen. We're all in this together. We're just learning, and I'm trying to get better at doing this discussion because it's not about. I hate doing interviews. I legitimately want to learn, but here's a fact, Dom. If you promise me like $1 million or a friendship, whatever you promise me, it's on public record.
So, dude, yeah, and vice versa, right? So, like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have a workshop, and I'm gonna be there.
So these are all historical documents,
yeah,
and when we're long gone, what we just did just now, it's going to be there for our kids and grandkids. They get, wow, this is what Dad did. He met with that random dude that he just met a couple of months prior. Wow, okay, and he said, "Don't chase comfort to the point of decay." That's some gold nuggets. That's why I do this, Dom, to get gold nuggets. So thank you very much for dropping some gold nuggets today.
thank you for the opportunity just to hang out and chat about a bunch of awesome stuff. Like, it's like I got a new bro. Like, that's why the way I look at this. Like, this is, I want you to go do jujitsu.
You gotta call me out on that
I'm gonna
now.
call you out. So you already got kettlebells. So
You know what? I regret doing this podcast. Let's end
Yeah.
you know what's here's the thing. I gotta shut up because we can go forever. But I'm so disappointed with my stomach right now that I suck it in when I'm in public. But I'm open about talking about it. But I will say, what I do know is that as a bodybuilder, people that do bodybuilder or any sport, I say bodybuilder because I'm familiar. But my muscle bellies, they're still there.
Yeah.
And I know and I'm not trying to sound prideful, but I know I can get it's not a problem. It's just I don't want to sacrifice certain things right now. I'm like I'm really enjoying certain things, but I know that I got to get there. So
So how
I
about this? A little bit of less of those things and a little bit more of some other things. A little bit of less. So for me, I can eat a bag of tortilla chips in one sitting, but maybe span it for 3 days instead of one day.
challenge accepted. There we go.
Let's go. Let's go.
All right. Well, thank you. I'm gonna put you in the back in the green room, and if you just hang on, we'll do our official goodbyes after I end the broadcast.
I appreciate you. And thanks to
Thank you.
everyone for listening in.
Doc said that's David Goggins level. There you go. He's right. He's spot on. What kind of friends you running around with here, Dom? What the heck? All right. All right. We'll take you off. I'll join you in the green room after. Family, thank you for watching. This is kind of what I love doing, having conversations. Call it whatever you want, podcast, a show. You can call it a live stream. You can call it a spaces, even though that is actually inaccurate. So to all of my Twitter people, it's not a spaces with video. I'm just kidding. It's not. But what we're really doing is we're creating historical documents. And that's what I'm very passionate about. I don't know how long God's going to give me the privilege of doing these, but I'm enjoying it for now. And I just want to encourage you guys, if you're not following Dom, I'll put all of his information in the show notes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Follow me on X, on Twitter, all socials. The website is duroglo.com. You can get to access to all of the show episodes. But I'm just grateful that you're here carving out a piece of your day to be with us. It is a definite privilege and an honor. And I'm trying to find my closing video while I'm trying to multitask. But I just want to thank you for your time. The fact that you're here with us, you could be doing anything else, but you're not. And you're here. So thank you for that. So I just want to thank you guys for your time, for your hearts, your super hearts, your data. If you got to pay for data, if you're in the Philippines, you got to pay $10 per megabyte. Thank you. Appreciate you for that. But thank you for your time above everything else. And I hope that the exchange of your time for this, that it was worth it all. So on behalf of Dom's family, my family, we love you guys. God bless you guys. Ahui hope. Aloha and mahalo. Yes, sir. Gee.